And the scene is set at Chloe's apartment. She wakes up, and she's still got that positive vibe, from last night when she crazy cleaned her house and then embarrassingly got, surprised by an early Megan showing up there. And she still got that vibe, and she's just like, I want to go out tonight. But I don't want to go to the gentleman's club. So she texts her good friend and the master of harpies, Laird Brayhan. Laird, what is another good bar in town? Click.
He just texts back, the Looking Glass Cabaret is pretty much the only other place that I would go to, considering the Giovanni smashed into the cellar bar.
Does a kindred own that place? Click.
Calliope Tavalaris is the text you get back, and a smile face.
I need to meet her. Contact info?
He texts you her number.
And this will probably be when Calliope will get the text message while she's a little busy saying, You own a bar, right? She'll probably be... Go ahead and answer.
Does it say who it is, or is it just a random text that says, do you own a bar?
No, it'll say, this is Chloe Brothers. You own a bar, right?
She'll text back, yep, come on over.
Inbound. Laird, get dressed. I'm on my way.
Laird gets into his very fine Mr. Stitch's black leather suit, three-piece, and then drives out to the looking glass in his Honda. He's also thinking that he really needs to see Calliope anyway, considering their recent encounter with the prince and all. So it's probably a good idea to just sort of have some light cursory conversation there.
Chloe will get into her usual garb, but she'll take out the leather jacket part of the Stitches special. And I think I requested mine to be red. Is that what we did? I think so. I can't remember. Anyways, it's red. It's red. Stitches, it's red. And she will get into her Nissan and meet Laird outside the cabaret.
Laird got there first, and he's just waiting by his car as you pull in. He hasn't walked towards the place. There's always sort of a security protocol going into this building. Mm-hmm. And he always feels a little more comfortable going in together, at once, because the staff sort of mobilizes once you enter. And he leads you to the door when you get out, and you walk in together and are greeted by whomever Calliope has on staff this evening.
It's Robert. He is a giant, burly black man who's about 6'3", but Laird probably has seen him before and knows that eventually, once you get to know him, he's kind of a teddy bear.
Yeah, Robert was nice to him last time. I think he saw him last time when he came here to see the prince. Mm-hmm. So, and probably when he talked to you alone as well. So he's smiling.
She's got 3 bouncers that go on rotation. So.
Yeah, he shakes his hand warmly and smiles at him and thanks him as they go. They're ushered through, and just sort of asks him, well, which floor do I have to go to, Robert, if you don't mind? He's got the blush of health going and all that.
Oh, yeah. You here to me see the missus then?
He nods and he just smiles at him. Yes, that's all right.
And your cute little friend too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
What's your name, sweetheart?
Chloe Brothers.
Oh, Miss Brothers, I'll show you some brothers right here. And he kind of smiles and waves them on through and says, "Yo, you're the missus. She's upstairs in that mushroom lounge right now. That's about where she be being. That's the last time I heard from her on the walkie-talkie. Yeah."
Larry is smiling at her ear to ear, smiling at him ear to ear, and he just says, "Thanks again, Robert." And
anytime for you, Mr. Brayhan. And he goes to give him the fist,
He bumps his fist. I like being called Mr. Brayhan. that works for me. So anyway, as we're heading up the stairs, because it's only stairs in this place, we get to the mushroom lounge, and we're just sort of looking around as we enter.
Before we get to the mushroom round, as we're walking away, Chloe will turn to Laird. The mushroom lounge?
Yeah. You ever see Willy Wonka?
Yes.
It's kind of like that, but without the Oompa Loompas. Unless she's hot. So.
So as Chloe's going up the stairs, she'll walk up the first lounge area, and it almost feels like the see if I can get the other overlay over. The stairway seems to kind of go up, and as you're going in, it almost makes it feel like the room is getting bigger, and you're strategically like shrinking as you go up, just like it would the optical illusion like Alice had at the beginning of Alice in Wonderland. And then you get to that second floor, and all of a sudden, like the books and everything look massively, larger than you are, and it just seems to be like a lounge area for kind of entranceway. The coat check and things like that are here. There's bits of library and music books and other things. On that same floor area, the other part of it is partitioned off like the maze that they have in Alice in Wonderland, but it looks like it's a restaurant. I mean, nobody's in there right now, but she can kind of peer through and see the different accoutrements that look like they're set up like the maze in that particular film. As they go up the stairs to the next floor, they'll get to where the mushroom lounge is, and this floor is set up much more like a ravey dance club kind of a thing, with the big glowing lights, things that glow in the black light, the chairs and the sofas. There's like a big giant mushroom in the corner, which for right now just has the decoration painted on the wall like the caterpillar would be there, but Chloe can probably imagine at some point a performer probably could be up there doing stunts or something. And so everything's kind of taken to be like oversized mushroom forest, and the bar's all about in a glow, and has various small old school video games and arcade machines next to the bar, which Laird will be familiar with, having played the bar video games before. And Calliope's just actually kind of over by the bar this time, just dealing with tending basic bar stuff in a basic white top, apron, and in shorts to go with it. So, and she'll look at Laird and nod as she recognizes the face.
Laird's just smiling at her, and he kind of talks out of the side of his mouth in like a low voice, and he's like, "It's Alice in Wonderland, it's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, it's her little brand of weird, but I actually really like it," is what he says, out of, like, very quietly. You could roll heightened senses or
Jeff will.
Well,
it's just Laird being appreciative.
You'll just see Chloe's like jaw is like open, and she's like looking all over the place, and like, oh my god.
Yeah, so you heard Laird like complimenting you. You heard that was very definitely a compliment about the establishment. And they walk up towards you. Laird sort of does this thing where he stretches his hands over his head like this, kind of in his suit. You'll notice it's a Stitch's reinforced clothing looking three-piece suit that he's wearing. It's actually very nice.
She'll look at it because she's got fashion sense as one of her merits, and is just like, he still owes me. I wonder where he is in his queue.
He nods. What do you think? Jeb's been working on this for me for a while, he says.
I think I can only hope that my cocktail gown will be on par with your suit.
Oh, I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. He's a genius. Everything he does. I mean, take a look at what she's wearing.
It's just a red leather jacket, but you can tell it's reinforced.
She'll say, there was this one thing that was like wampa fur that he had made for John, and it started falling apart when we were touching it.
Look, Laird's face is sort of like shocked for a second. What color was it?
I think it was white. It looked like animal fur. It was a really rare fur, Mr. Stanhope decided to start bragging about the scarcity of this particular type of material, and then it started to kind of disintegrate in his fingers, and he looked questioning.
I'm gonna make.
I figured maybe it was a wear once and done, but.
I'm gonna make a intelligence investigation roll to sort of think. It's going to be 4 dice. We'll say difficulty 6. I get 2 successes, and I'm just going to say I don't trust anything of Stitch's to fall apart easily. You should aura read that, is what he says to you.
You should what, near that?
You should use the sight. You should read it. You should read that suit, is what he says.
Oh. Was it really Stitch's then? He wouldn't put his name on something that wasn't his.
No. It was Stitch's suit, but it was a $50,000 suit that originally was going to go to the Don.
It's all making sense now. I wonder if John actually wore it.
You'll have to ask him, but I don't think anything jeopardized. I mean, the Harpies came together. We paid for that suit as a gift to John, to the prince. He says, realizing that he said the prince's first name.
But it was supposed to go to the Dawn?
Well, it was originally materials that were supposed to be for a suit for the Don. The Don wanted to outdo the blue one that Stitches made because it was the only more expensive suit in the world, apparently, that you could have made. And then the embargo happened because of John St. John causing that first fiasco by going to an Elysium uninvited.
Yes.
Suddenly, Stitches was stuck with this commission that he couldn't afford to keep because he spent the money on the materials. They're rare, expensive, hard to put together. So I put up the scratch, and the Harpies paid me in boons and some money, to kind of even things out, and we made a gift of it for the prince.
The plot thickens.
Well, I mean, what are you going to do? Like, let that fur just sit there?
God knows I could think of a couple different things to do with fur, but...
I mean, you've felt the other one, right? The blue one?
No.
Yeah, John has a blue one, he says.
He's waiting for me.
And that's where this all started. The Don wanted to outdo him because this would have been the most expensive suit in comparison. Almost twice as expensive.
This is like a Toreador snub. I love it.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, maybe you can read something off of it and figure out what happened.
Oh, maybe. I'll have to go back. Maybe
Though
not.
I have to admit, I'm a little saddened to hear this myself. Poor Jebediah, when we were there, when he was measuring the prints for this suit, he was over himself. It took him 3 drinks to settle down. He was completely out of control.
He didn't even really settle down, Laird.
I guess he really never settled down, but he wasn't paying attention to us, and we were having a Harpy meeting. He just was trying to get the suit right, and just so anxious about it. He called it his finest work. I just doubt. Call me crazy? Is it wrong for me to feel suspicious?
Nope.
Okay.
Well, you said bar. Do you have a particular flavor that you prefer? And she'll look at Chloe.
Not really. I'm kind of open to all suggestions as she's still kind of looking about the room. Your place, by the way, is like epically amazing. Epically.
Well, we've got some rooms upstairs too to finish it off, but do try to let people forget about reality.
This'll do.
It works well enough for the mortals too. They like themed things. It just they just come and then they pay money and it works.
Yeah. Build it and they will come.
But she will pass a glass over to Chloe. She won't pass one to Laird because she knows he's a Ventru and they're finicky. So.
And he's fine with that. He's not even.
He knows by now.
Yeah, he's okay. Laird's just happy to be there. So he then just sort of still thinking about the suit. But he says, I wonder what could destroy a brand new suit that way.
Bugs.
That's really cruel.
Changing atmosphere.
We can't tell Jebediah about this anytime soon. It's what he says.
Humidity?
He'll have a heart attack. He'll have a heart attack.
Maybe it's so rare that it can only last for a certain period of time. It's only good for like one night.
I don't think so. The prince has worn the other suit on a couple of occasions, I believe now.
Maybe it had the touch of death.
I don't know
how they do their voodoo.
I am telling you, read that sucker. See if there's anything that happened to it, because I just have a feeling. I mean, like, honestly, I really was looking forward to the whole joke of the prince having the suit the Dom wanted, but if this was just sort of the kind of thing that was going on in the background anyway, even before this most recent Elysium. Kind of like he's smiling sort of because he thinks it's funny, but then at the same time he's sort of shrugging his shoulders because it's kind of par for the course at the moment.
I mean, I'm telling you that there's something that they wanted, and I still think it's something connected to what happened at the museum with the objects that got stolen. Mr. Crowley and I went over, and we figured out whose collection it was from and where those objects came from, and I tasked the Nosferatu with looking a little bit more into the organization that had thieved the 3 items that were missing from the collection.
Who do we know that has a crime empire and is organized?
Did I tell you who had taken those items and what was taken yet?
No. I think you texted me a little bit about this stuff. We haven't talked.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the Blind Tigers were the organization that was responsible for the theft. Who they are, I have no idea. But the collection was from a Middle Eastern man, and it came straight from his collection to here. And his name was Amir Teramun, and she'll spell it out like Amrteremun. And he had worked with archaeological teams in Turkey, North Africa, Middle East, that whole vicinity. But there were 3 items that were unrecovered. And assumedly, the little lady handing out pamphlets said she just assumed they were on the black market. But my guess is that they never made it to the black market. They made it to the kindred market, would be my guess. But it was 3 items. There was a Charlemagne-era cross that was from France. There was a sarcophagus that was from a Parthian era, and it was a child sarcophagus. Who likes dead things? Just saying. And then there was a scroll relating to Sargon, who was the first king of Akkad, and that particular empire. I did a little bit of Googling on it, but it's pretty far-fetched. So I have a couple ideas on that. But
Far-fetched? Which Indiana Jones chronicle are we talking about?
Okay, well, so there was talk dealing with some of these old Sargon legends and people who are, from that Samaria area and other types of things, saying that, there might be cross mythology. Because back then there's a lot of creation stories and things like that that happen to be of a similar line. So some people, at least Wikipedia tells me, that Sargon might have suggestively been the identity and inspiration for Nimrod from the Bible. And so, I don't know how familiar you are with biblical stories.
Well, I know in our mythology, people always talk about the Sabbat mythos of Cain and Abel.
Yes, and guess who helped out Cain? Nimrod.
Okay.
I'm just telling you what I found on Wikipedia. I am no occult expert. I am no supernatural historian, but just saying, there are mythology stories out there that are potentially linking the 2 of them together, and that's enough for me to think that some kindred who's into the occult might be interested in a scroll that was written by him.
He pulls out his little notebook and his very nice pen. He starts taking notes. And what were these tigers called again?
The Blind Tigers.
Chloe's just kind of sitting there, just watching you guys talk, drinking whatever Calliope gave her. Just like,
Stand so special.
So much information. So much information. I love being a harpy.
And he's sitting there going, okay. So you don't know anything about the Blind Tigers except that there's some sort of criminal organization.
That's all I got. I believe that was info that Crowley was able to find when looking up the
They're not like a gang.
Could be. Like, he just gave me a name.
Wow. Okay.
I got the rest of the information from, like, the name of the gentleman who owns the collection from touching pieces of the collection.
Mm.
Like, he's a good-looking Egyptian man and collects a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
But Nimrod was also supposedly the one who built the Tower of Babel.
So what does Crowley think of all this? He's like rubbing his temples.
Well, he said he was going to be investigating a little bit more, and I'd sent letter off to my foster sire. She is also Egyptian and into archaeology. But I will tell you, there was a little while back in this town, about a year ago, when some of these archaeologists were digging things up that dealt with a different type of kindred that are not quite Camarilla affiliated. And that like Egypt.
Followers of Set.
And that would be it. Now, I don't know much about what they found or what actually all went on, but it was a little bit of a snafu here for, about a year ago. And so I'm wondering, the connection, I don't know.
You're telling me a year ago when there was Malkavian anti-tribute and a whole bunch of other shit going down post-Abraham Wolf, there were Setites.
I believe Mr. Wolf might have actually been involved in that, whether or not he was just helping with research or had friends from previous days.
Setites in Massachusetts. It's a long way from Egypt.
That is. It's not that long of a way from New York, but...
Yeah, but... Okay. No, I'm not saying I don't...
I don't know if they were actually here or if they were just digging things up that related to it.
Well,
I was brand new to the city and had just heard bits and whispers and wasn't nearly important enough to tell anything to.
Well, as far as I know, with the asylum, with that particular dig in archaeology, Ewan Dunson was directly involved and spying on his old friend Dr. Mogans via that neonate fledgling George Walker, who he put under the thumb of the Giovanni pretty quickly.
Mm.
This is why when George was outed for passing information back and forth, I think the Giovanni took such a sensitive turn with it. I've also kind of recently pieced a bunch of things together. I know Javier has dealings with them. I know Gary had some dealings with them, but prefers not to, and wanted to limit the Anarchs in their communications with them to a certain degree, which is why he supported the treaty. But if you're telling me that there's Setites and there's some sort of organized criminal something, taking something from the Setites, who do we know is that's into organized crime and can actually organize a crime with extraction?
Who likes dead things?
Right. So
now, I don't know. I am totally probably reaching for straws here, but given the past history of the town and those 3 items that are missing, my question is, why those 3 items? Why didn't they steal some of the beautiful jewelry or the crown jewels or the scepter that was like the centerpiece?
Well, from what I understood, Ewan Dunson was mates, old friends, very probably with Dr. Mogans. So why all the secrecy there? Why spy on him? Why are they doing it the way they're doing it? I've long thought that they wanted something. And, why didn't they take control of the town in the absence of princes? Why didn't they lobby the Camarilla to just make this a Giovanni city when they really could have? They don't want people paying attention to them when they're looking for something else.
But I've been saying this the whole time.
Yeah. And it's fine. It's dandy. Honestly, I could almost care less what they want.
Unless it's going to fuck us.
Right. Right. Well, Miss Brothers here was recently kidnapped by them after this whole debacle at Elysium. And,
are you okay?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. I mean, like, as soon as Laird, mentions the whole abduction thing, she just kind of goes, ugh, drink.
They didn't play any mind games on you or torture or anything?
No, they left me alone and I destroyed their TV.
As far as the prince and I can tell, her mind hasn't been tampered with, nor her emotions.
Good.
There was a third individual not
Great.
the Don and his capo. I should say fourth individual, and not John St. John, but yes, as Chloe states, a man calling himself the Rake who was masked, wouldn't show his face.
He remained masked every time he looked at me.
John St. John, yeah. Sorry, you can, if you got something, you can take it.
She looks at Chloe.
Hmm?
She looks at Chloe to retell the story of the masked man.
She'll talk about what happened before he got there. That the original plan was to meet a block away with Laird and Megan and then proceed. But as soon as he told me that Morty was by himself and that he just hung up the phone saying he'll call him right back and he sounded worried, she'll say that she kind of accidentally stepped on the gas a little bit too hard and just kept on going. And, came to a stop in front of the Elysium.
They would have taken Mortimer. He owes her his life. She went in his stead, essentially, after John St. John brutalized the poor fellow.
I haven't seen him since. I don't know if he's all right.
Morty's staying with me.
He's been pretty quiet in the Arboretum.
I know it's a slight change of topic and you might not want to hear it, but I feel like if Jacob was more involved with the neonates, things like what happened with Ariadne Quinn, what happened here with Mortimer, wouldn't have happened. Mortimer would have known the protocol after something like what happened at the Elysium. He stayed behind when everybody else left, clueless, because he didn't know it was the right time to exit. And at the same time, Juan Carlos went after Ariadne without knowing that he needed to bring a stake or tell other people to try to extract her safely. I don't blame them so much as they're young. I've got a good 40 years on them being a vampire, almost. I'm saying this because I feel someone like yourself, while also relatively young, has always appeared to be eminently more qualified to be Primogen than Jacob, from the way he's behaved in recent nights, as far as I can tell since I've arrived.
He's always taken a hands-off approach on a lot of that, as far as I can tell. But I'm trying to do what I can to make up for the Ariadne situation. I walked by the Opera House tonight. It's got new ownership. They wouldn't let me in.
Well, new ownership or not,
I called Cole, too. I'm trying to see if I can get anything of hers that I can get my hands on and try to read. I've known her for well over a year. I knew her when she was immortal. I knew her when Deep was alive. I knew her after Deep died. And even though I went away for a few months, when I came back, it was like an empty shell of the person that once was.
her bills had to go somewhere. You need to find the apartment that her bills went to so you could find her phone records and her billing records. Like that's what I told the prince. I said the best way to handle this. I was trying to I took a yelling from the prince, basically, to sort of distract him a bit from how angry he was with Juan Carlos. Though Juan took it as me making fun of him or something. I don't know. The guy's very prideful. But, the prince was damn near ready to kill him. And I basically just sort of said, well, even though this looks bad, financial records will tell you whom she was in bed with financially. Phone records will tell you if you can get a hold of them and maybe, I don't know, pull a Jedi mind trick here or there on somebody who works at a Verizon store, to get access to her messages, whom she was in contact with. Because I don't think Ariadne was a willing participant. I think that Ariadne...
I think she was set up for that. Like, she might have had powerful blood being Deep's child, but if she was talking with Lasombra, who's as old as I think he is, and if he has friends,
right.
They're older.
And when you talked about how Jacob is hands off, this whole Elysium thing. Jacob told Javier about the Elysium, and I've already figured it out that Javier is the one who told the Giovanni about this Elysium they were not invited to, which they just went to and got staked at. So this information chain of Jacob's is really a poor one and reflective of his bad leadership. Also, he left you alone with High Call and Devin Creed, and Devin Creed might not have wound up in Torpor if he'd accompanied you. He said to me, he made a deal with me to go in there with you, and he didn't go.
Well, to be fair, he did find out that the reason that he was there in the first place, to bump into that man, to be able to summon him, man was dead.
Okay, well, Mogan's was dead. But he still could have backed you guys up or helped you figure out a good way to get out of there without Devin getting struck down. He didn't need to abandon you in the middle of that particular escapade. I think it was very self-interested. And when he made a deal with me on the treaty, that apparently wasn't a good enough deal to go through. I offered to step down and let Morty become Master of Harpies to give the clan status again after the clan was going to lose status because of Juan Carlos's actions with Ariadne in exchange for support of the treaty. I also outlined why it was a good treaty to take, and I showed him how over time the Primogen could amend it and make it stronger in their favor if they gave it a shot. And he got greedy. I got them minutes by minutes. It was his fault it didn't go through.
He did say that he hadn't made up his mind officially until he got there.
Yeah, but that's the way he is. He's like a cat. He says one thing and then thinks another, and he doesn't let anybody else know until the last minute. I'm saying this now because there are more Toreador than there have ever been in this city. You are eminently more qualified than him and could possibly save the lives of others in your clan if you were in charge. You're the kind of person who can teach people common sense, protocol, keep them out of trouble. You're visibly a leader. And I saw a little bit of that video with that singing. He says to you, you know, and I've gotten a little bit of first-hand information about what happened there. Crowley went upstairs and left you alone to talk to Gary?
I did smooth it out, but unfortunately I didn't get to finish fixing the rest of the situation.
I mean, you took the role as Primogen and actually fixed the problem by negotiating and mediating, whereas Crowley decided to leave you in absentia to hang for whatever it was that he couldn't get through to them because they apparently didn't like the way he was doing business with them. Honestly, the guy acts like a spoiled child. You know, and I'm saying this to you because I don't care. I don't have... and you can roll perception empathy at this.
Sure.
I don't have any faith in the man. And I feel that leaving him in power for too long is a danger to all of you. And you can tell that he's being sincere when he says that.
Unfortunately, our city has this problem of not enough elders. And that problem, we've had a Toreador Primogen before who wasn't old enough to hold her own. And then the Tremere blood fiasco happened. And that was a fiasco itself.
I can train you how to hone your will to keep them out of your head.
I need to beef up my ability to block people. I need to beef up my ability to take more pain. There's a lot I need to do before I'm ready for any of that. Because as soon as you step into that power position, your head's on a platter. And I'm much better at leading from behind a man rather than taking the power position myself.
I'm offering free training lessons for physical training.
I need more swordplay.
He nods to you, but then he says,
I'm not good with that.
Unfortunately, Calliope, sometimes a person has to take the responsibility even if it's too soon in their mind, if it's leaving the clan at a detriment. If I'm right, then Jacob is indirectly responsible for Ariadne's death. And that's how I view it. And obviously I'm not a person without strong opinions, but you know me to be a very perceptive person as well. I don't like to say things that I'm not mostly certain of. I think that while it would maybe put a target on you in one way, it would also help you guide the clan back to a more organized state, better communication among your members, better chain of command in general. Keep Jacob as whip if you have to. But I think that the fact of the matter is, he's bad for your business, unfortunately. I don't want to.
It's his fault that Juan did that, though. We're a clan of hot-headed, temperamental individuals who often fly by the seat of our emotions. I think he thought Juan Carlos could do the job and didn't need to micromanage.
Juan didn't go to him. Juan didn't think to go to him because he's so removed. Juan didn't know that he should go to him. In his heart, he didn't think that it was necessary to take that step. And that's what I'm talking about. If he had been really, if you had been Primogen, and you had been whom Juan Carlos had been introduced to begin with, there is no way he would have gone on a search and destroy mission without talking to you. There's no way. I've seen the way he communicates with you. There is open communication there. But the way Jacob is, Jacob talks to you and at you, not with you.
I think that's his personality. You have to get to know the personality to be able to use them the way that they're needed.
Well, here's my question. In self-interest, he has indirectly set the chain of events in motion that wound up leading us to a point where the Don of the Giovanni and his capo were staked in a public Elysium. In a week or so prior to that, we've had the death of the only person who was a link to Apollo of Corinth, someone who was probably innocent. And then before that, he made an agreement with me to deal with Mogans. Even if Mogans was killed, he didn't back you up when you went into a hellhole, a clusterfuck, when he should have backed you up. He is your Primogen. You were on site. I understand that you know the man and you have history, and I'm not saying he doesn't have his uses, but I am saying that it sounds like Jacob is out for Jacob.
Of course. That's eventually what all kindred are out for.
But from what I understand about your conversation with Gary, you were out for Clan Toreador. I greatly respect you. I think that you have the mettle. But what happens when somebody who's supposed to represent all of you isn't? He's only representing himself. And that's all I want you to think about. I mean, eventually, it's your clan that's going to have to meet, move, talk, discuss. But I just don't think that you can take more hits like this, with bad leading. I think it's going to be a disaster in the short term. And if you're right about the Giovanni, they want something, they're aggressive about something, and now they're pissed off at the prince. And he looks at you knowingly, knowing about the agreement everybody's made recently with the prince. The clans need to be able to rely on each other transparently. Is Jacob really the person to do that?
Only time will tell on that. But I'm fairly certain that anyone that interacts with the Giovanni will have poisonous sweet words poured into their ears. Now she looks at Chloe and she's like, I'm sure they told you their own variation of spin.
Actually, no. They didn't really tell me anything.
I read her mind a bit.
It's so much easier to have someone else in power who might look out better for you, or obviously, of course, with their own interests in mind, finding someone who'll just let them do whatever they want and trying to spin it like it'd be good for you too. That's what they do.
Well,
no. When I was being released and I was talking to the rake, he only told me that there would be an open spot, considering that the prince didn't send anybody to come get me. The reason why I didn't flip out like Laird and the prince saw in my vision, in my memories, is because I knew that somebody would at least come for me. Yes, it may have not been the prince. Well, the Tremere didn't come for me. It was Laird who made sure everything came through. I knew I was covered.
well,
But he offered a seat with the Giovanni, or sanction with the Giovanni, considering the prince didn't come for me.
The best I could manage at that time was negotiating with the rake while I waited for the prince to tell me how things would be handled with the bodies of the two tortured individuals. The prince sought to return them immediately. He didn't torture them or anything. They were returned within a 24-hour span. It met the requirements of the rake to ensure that Chloe would not be harmed, and he seemed to be honorable enough to honor his words. I think the rake is the one, if we had to do damage control, that it would be good to maybe cursory communicate with. And when I say damage control, I mean do our own spin, where we basically explain to them that legally a prince has the right to revoke Elysium to individuals or an entire establishment, and that these people showed up uninvited after they'd been banned, and they were summoned in front of him to plead their case, and then, at his displeasure, were staked. They were not invited into Elysium with all the rights granted therein.
Is there anyone else that would have invited them in? Like, I'm sure Jacob told Javier about the Elysium because he wants, all Toreador, including the ones that are independent, to be able to take care of business at Elysium. Javier tends to run his mouth, but...
Javier is the one who told them about it initially, why they went. He didn't invite them. He just told them where it was, even though they were not invited or to know about it, since it was court being held in Elysium, and they've been banned from court, as per the promise of 1528. Now, a prince has a right to do that, and I guess they went there thinking that they could kind of bend the rules and get an audience and try to smooth things over. Carl Voltaire summoned them in. I guess they're spirit friends. Laird's thinking about the video that he saw with John St. John talking to someone who wasn't there. Told them a different story. I have a feeling that maybe spirits from beyond aren't necessarily experts on legal documents that have been written hundreds of years ago. So in their mind, the Giovanni were alerted in some way, supernaturally, I suppose, that John had been invited in and that the promise had been broken.
Well, just like you can't use spirit's touch in a court of law, you can't use a ghost's word either.
Well, if you're the master of such a being, I'm assuming that there must be an emotional bond and that such a being would have its own emotional range. Eyewitnesses in the living are not necessarily reliable. In fact, they're responsible for over 72% of wrongful imprisonments in the U.S. alone. So maybe what they saw was one thing, but Carl was told by the prince to summon them forth to plead their case. The prince did not like what they had to say, and he ordered them staked. I've watched this video. The Nosferatu gave me the security video. I've seen the whole thing.
Repeatedly.
And then they send death threats.
Well, they sent death threats. They went to the establishment, broke down the door, beat up Morty and were going to take him hostage, threatened to take us all hostage, and until I told them that if they took us all hostage, nobody could relay the message. Then Chloe, of course, with the most valiant thing I've ever seen, swapped herself over for Mortimer, who could obviously not last long in such an environment.
No, it's because when Megan and you both said no, I could hear the creaking of their fingers on the triggers, and I didn't want to full out fight, so I stepped in front.
Now, twice now, the Bruja have stepped up to help with Toreador affairs. Devin Creed had your back at the asylum, and even though he owes you, he had your back. He was willing to go to bat because of you.
Well, I wasn't going to.
No, of course you weren't. But I'm saying the Bruja right now are in a low status position. They're having trouble with domain, etc. I think that Ventru and Toreador interests should align to help them on a more practical level outside of all this nonsense and craziness.
Well, yes. I mean, that's why I stayed mum and didn't say much when I brought Devin back and just kind of said I didn't see him because I brought him straight to the prince. I didn't know where else to take him. I didn't know any of the other Bruja. I didn't know who to trust, and I didn't know if Mr. Creed's pride as an elder for getting torpored underneath a city would be taking a hit. I know the Bruja are very pride-filled, just like we are, and if I could save him some of that trouble so he could weave whatever story he needed to when he came back, I thought that might be more appropriate for him rather than me blaring his business around.
He nods to that.
He has a lot of pride.
He is a prideful individual, but he's a good man.
I thought so too.
And this one here, he points to Chloe. was willing to put herself in the place of Mortimer.
Because I knew I could take the beating.
I think
if it came to that.
I think with the two of them, you have the start of helping the Bruja rebuild, and that we as sister clans need to take the time to invest in helping them. The Camarilla is only as strong as the weakest chink in its armor. And I think that outside forces are a real problem, really, at the end of the day.
Did you get one of the death threat boxes?
Me? Oh.
There have been several sent out. I've heard about them. What of the one that was sent to you?
It was a plain box. It was not anything fantastic, but I opened it up, and there were ashes inside in the shape of a number 1, and the ashes were of a female. I know she had auburn hair and was about middle-aged, but that's about all I got off of it.
An obvious threat and some sort of veiled message all in one.
I did also scan one of the rings on the Don while carrying him around.
Do you have security cameras that are outside of the building that watch the streets?
Here?
Yes.
Yes, and Mr. John St. John, his gentleman, when the Elysium was here, his gentleman scoped out all of my security features.
He's threatening you. He's trying to say that he can come back at any time and try to blow the place up.
That wouldn't be the first time it's been blown up.
Well, John St. John is a very violent, single-minded individual. The Rake, however, is a very cautious career criminal who knows what he's doing and doesn't like his identity to be known. So doesn't that sound a little bit like an anonymous group of criminals that no one's heard of to you?
That's fair.
So I think we have our blind tiger, or maybe the one-eyed man among the blind who leads them and calls himself king. And we've got the muscle.
How do I get rid of them without raising the ire of Italy?
Well, the younger ones,
They have to have infighting too. It can't just be Camarilla. Every family has its spats.
but right now they're going to be very united because of the Dawn. The Dawn's going to be single-minded against Stan's hope. You know that as soon as he wakes up, he's going to be thinking about blood. Whether it's a short game or a long game is the real question.
Well, that's my worry. With Ewan, from the couple times I've met him, he's god-awful charming. He looks just as good as I do. From the...
Yeah. Luckily, I didn't get to meet him.
I told the Rake, since we were contacting each other via phone over Chloe, that he can try to send me some sort of way to electronically communicate later, like a Skype messaging system or something. I told him that I'd be willing to talk about preliminary damage control, essentially. In so much, without saying it out loud, I inferred it. Because
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
somebody is going to have to talk in a more diplomatic, public way, even if it's off the record at first.
Well, I've been talking to Oz in that manner.
Mm-hmm.
He was my boss for a while. He's been my friend for over a year, but I think the family's got their hands wrapped around his balls. I thought since he's a little bit more distant from the family and had been immortal for 150 years that he might be more approachable to compromise, but I think there's a reason he's in that clan. Speaking of compromise, your harpies are going to have to keep a damn good ear out for any winds of people trying to make change, people trying to throw in a new hand to rule the court.
He looks at you.
You can guarantee that the Giovanni, being as pissed as I'm sure they are going to be laying down footholds not only in the mortal realms, but in any way that they can talk to any Camarilla, talk to any Anarchs, start laying traps and ideas and whispers in people's ears of how much better it would be for them if someone else, perhaps themselves, was in charge.
Unfortunately, my dear, the only Primogen I completely know 100% not to trust this point is Jacob Crowley.
Well, I don't trust the Tremere as far as I can throw them, but they've always been stalwarts for the Camarilla.
The Tremere are islands unto themselves, and whichever way they wish to behave, it's almost closed doors, behind curtains, away from anything really that visible. Even with the Sensual, he's not so visible. You know, he made that proclamation, but he's not really out making the rounds.
We need a full set of hounds making the rounds, too.
I've talked to the Prince about it. I've talked to Cole about it. I know Chloe has recently talked to the Prince about the idea of maybe making all of the Harpies hounds in abstention until he can finally make his draft picks.
I've done that before.
Right. You're the one who gave me the idea.
Oh, well. In that case, the other thing I noticed, and it could just be Cole being a good man. When we were in that heated situation with staking of them, the other gangrel in the really scary clown getup was blocking the door and the exit until Sheriff Cole picked up the Dawn and moved to go out the door of that Elysium room. The gangrel stepped out of the way so Cole could get out of the way. Me being fast, I caught up to him out in the hallway. It almost seemed like the sheriff was trying to either get away with the Dawn, and then eventually he threw him towards the window door area, like down the hallway some. It was just weird. It felt like he was trying to help him get out and maybe save face. But
you were not the only Toreador who's told me that. Joshua Smith said the same thing to me. He was chasing the Don with a stake at the time when Cole picked him up. And I've reviewed the video, and to me, it looked like Cole was trying to throw him outside to safety.
I think he probably was just doing it to help ease the situation. I'm going to give him, all the benefit of the doubt, because he's always been a stalwart defender of the Camarilla. But he threw him, it did some damage. I shot him, it did some more damage. I plunged the stake through the Dawn, and then leaned down, picked him up, looked at Cole, and said, "Should I bring him to the Prince?" And Cole just kind of looked and said,
If you took a vote of no confidence right now and made a bid for the Primogenship, you could then take active time to train these neonates to better be ears and eyes to defend the Toreador against what's to come, because that number one means that you are now, personally, my dear, number one on their hit list.
Oh, I know.
I think if you let Jacob run it and you try to rule from the shadows, maybe you're better protected from the machinations of others within the Primogens and court. But the clan itself remains disorganized and can act less readily as a shield. I think it's time you really think hard about stepping up. All the Harpies would support you. The Prince would support you. And we could work more concentratedly together in an effort to make sure that we're ensuring the safety of ourselves and those we care about. As far as making waves with Jacob, he might not like it. But he's not shown to me that he is capable to defend any of you or your clan for what's to come.
I don't know if I can do that against him.
It's not about if you can, it's more about what you have to do. You're the kind of person that does what they have to do. And Jacob might not understand it at first, but even anarchs in a vote of no confidence get a vote, and I don't think Javier would vote for him. I think that the seeds are there with the other younglings. They're seeing firsthand what his non-involvement and laissez-faire attitude has wrought. The flaying of Juan Carlos alone. He squints.
I would have stepped up and done it myself if it wasn't the sheriff, just so it was someone from his own clan.
He nods to that, and he says, I personally wouldn't have punished him at all. I would have docked him status. I would have forced him into real training.
Well, flaying is one of the mildest manners that a prince can discipline people in, too.
I know. But if I was his primogen, he never would have made that mistake to start. I would have vetted him. I would have seen what he can do before allowing him to have aspirations to be some sort of hound or whatever it was that he thought he was being when he went after Ariadne. I'm the one who gave him Ariadne's information. He didn't tell me. He didn't think to tell the Master of Harpies anything about what was going down. Do you realize how fast I could have had half the city right there and then? Even if he couldn't have gotten the sheriff? He should have known better.
I feel like he probably just got caught up in the moment when he was there and his teeth were stronger than he thought they were.
I think he thinks I'm an Anarch sympathizer, and he chose not to trust me out of pride and because I was the scribe for the treaty and a supporter of it.
He is a very staunch Camarilla defender. And I did get to hear a little bit of his side of that story, but...
That's fine, but there's also a level of foolishness. You know, you saw what the Anarchs did. Once information got out, that I'll tell you for real, I have the minute by minute of what was said in the Primogen Council. I won't name my source, but I know exactly what they said. And the Primogen were going to break the Convention of Thorns and sweep them all under the rug. Now, I'm not going to tell you who told the Anarchs what, and he smiles at you knowingly.
Can make a guess.
But they're not dead, are they? Right. Now, you can call me a sympathizer, but I'm more interested in making sure that the Camarilla, unified with Anarchs in it, is defending itself from Setites or Giovanni or Sabat or whatever have you.
Well, and that's what the convention was set to be, that the Anarchs can maintain their own independent status with all the rights and privileges of a Camarilla member, provided that they participate.
Well, the Convention of Thorns does not supersede a prince's right to make edicts. If the prince had accepted this treaty and made it an edict, he would have had individual right to modify it any which way legally within the Camarilla's existing system. And having some sort of old-fashioned right-wing sort of sentimentality towards the way things have been for 500 years, when this city as an individual case is very prickly at best, is not what I would call wise or tactically sound.
No. They all need to get their heads out of their asses and realize that documents change after 500 years.
And you're the kind of woman who can lead them in that direction to do so. Without being selfish. I know what Jacob wanted. He wanted the Primogen to have more control over the Anarchs directly, like slave drivers. And he squints at you. It's time for you to step up. And then he says, I'm sorry, ladies, I'd rather you have a good evening getting to know each other from here. I'm going to go. I needed to say this. And he bows to Calliope because he knows that they'll be meeting again soon for the things that they have to do as knights.
Yeah. If he's looking too and he's actually paying attention, he's going to notice that she's got, you know, on typical flawless skin, as she's moving around, there's a little bit of a slice under her chin and a little bit of a scar slice on the collarbone area.
He can tell she's toughening up, she's training. He just is praying that the words he said have sunken in. And if she is looking at him, she can see he's not even trying to hide it. He fervently believes everything he said to her. But he leaves and gets into his car after leaving the building in Dutch.
Well,
Another one for you then, Miss Brothers. I haven't gotten to hear much of your set of story yet. I'm saying you haven't Laird it.
oh yes, all talk. All talk, no bite. Well, yeah, there is some of a little bite.
He bites, but he means well.
Yes.
I rather like the fellow.
He's family. Not literally, but
You know, I think so. There's a couple sets of people that, when they get to be in that family area, I will just flat out kill for them.
which is essentially what I did with the whole Giovanni, except it was I'd rather be killed for them.
Well, I'll need to have a talk with Mortimer. I haven't seen him since. I bet you, knowing his personality, he's pretty shaken.
He was, from what I heard, when they got him back to the Malkavian Manor, where Megan is staying, he apparently was very out of it, and Laird had to use some Jedi mind tricks on him to get him to calm down, and then they took him up to a room, and he had another waking nightmare and broke through a window.
The nightmares don't stop in New Sarum, and it takes a certain kind of almost calloused individual to make it for any kind of long period of time. And regrettably, I've fallen down that path. Mortimer was a breath of fresh air in his innocence. Sometimes I wish I could start gaining that back, but it looks like it's taking its toll on him now.
I'm trying to help him with the nightmares without having to use Jedi mind tricks. No offense, because I know Toreador, Ventru, and everybody else, except for the Bruja, seem to be able to do Jedi mind tricks unless they learn them from somebody else. Right now, my assignment for him is to imagine a door when it gets too bad and to just run for it, and no matter what, as soon as he reaches for the door, it's done.
It's almost like a video game I played once.
Yeah,
It was like playing Skyrim.
exactly.
Go through
You
that.
got a whole bunch of monsters coming after you.
And just everything closes with that oblivion portal.
Exactly. You can have all sorts of mobs running behind you. As soon as you get out of that, as soon as you get to that tunnel, though, nothing else.
So where'd you come from before this, Ms. Brothers?
Well, before, right before New Sarum, I was in Boston. So, just a couple hours drive. Before that, there was a little bit of time in Texas, and then I was originally from Washington
State or the capital?
State.
I was going to say, with the hair and everything else, I can see Texas. Texas cheer, even.
No. Texas, loner. Lone Ranger, I guess you can say.
Sure.
I did, I'm very, agile. I do a lot of parkour.
Well, then we have something in common with the agility. And I'm a good Southern girl too, born and raised down in Georgia, so I know about our being belles and keeping guns.
Exactly. Although I'm not really much of a gun person. I've shot a little bit, but I prefer to actually be the weapon.
Yeah. I was in competitions about as soon as I could walk, instead of going out to cheer and things like that when I was little. My dad, being a military man, had me out in those gun competitions since I was about yay big. Doing that in high school.
She's still smiling, but it's just like you can kind of see that there's a different attitude going on if you want to roll.
Here. Let's see how perceptive I am right now. Probably not. It doesn't matter if I'm rolling 6 dice. Actually, I did okay. 3.
There's something there. There's a deeper story.
She's looking at her, and she'll just pour her a little bit more of one of the Stanhope brews and says, "You look like you're going to need the rest of this to finish where that's coming from." Say, "I don't need to use presents to tell that."
Parents. You're lucky to have them.
I don't. I think that might be something else we have in common.
My dad was abusive. I have a little sister. Had a mom. Dad was a drunk. Physical abuse, verbal abuse. One night he finally got too pissed off that he decided to kill my mom and then try to hunt me and my little sister down. Luckily, the neighbors got there in time and knocked him away. And if you're wondering if this is tied to the Giovanni at all, like how I jumped in front, I'm kind of the older sister. I wasn't in the cabinet with my little sister. I was standing outside of it, and my dad had the gun to my head, telling me to get out of the way.
It almost kind of sounds like all those kids up in Connecticut not too long ago, and the teachers hiding them in the room.
Yeah, I heard about that.
But that's what the older sibling does. It's like in a moment of stress and crisis, you don't even stop to think. You just act.
You thrive in chaos. You start to learn.
And in the moment.
And in a moment. But we were separated in the Child Protective Service. Me and my sister.
Did you get to find her before you turned?
No. She was still in Montana. I recently found out, actually, that as soon as I got here, apparently she showed up in Boston. She had tracked me down. And my sire was out and about one night, and I had told him stories about my sister, about some of the letters that we exchanged, that she was taking a lot of fighting classes. She got the good family. I didn't get the good family until I was 16 in Boston.
How old's her apparent age for Chloe?
25.
Yeah, so she looks like mid-20s. Says Calliope's kind of got a gauge on about how old Chloe probably is just from listening to stories in terms of kindred set, and kind of nods.
She is actually only 30, 31.
Yeah. I didn't have to go through any of that myself, but everybody in my family, at least in one generation or another, was military. Somehow it skipped me, but Dad went off, was supposed to be home for Christmas. Didn't come home for Christmas.
Oh, man.
But then you end up taking the older sibling role and trying to make sure that ends meet.
Oh, yeah.
So you work one job or another, whether it's a little bit disgraceful or not. There might have had a few unscrupulous jobs that weren't quite up to my full performance chops, but looks help.
Yeah, I got lucky with the courier business in Boston.
There were quite a few times when I had to work various gentlemen's clubs. I suppose I'm well versed in the cabaret arts and won't expect anything of my girls that I haven't done myself.
But do you love your business?
It's a love-hate relationship. It's different than it was when my sire was here, though, which is good. Out with the old, in with the new.
Exactly.
Besides, if they can't keep up with modern times, then they're going to have trouble. I don't care how old they are.
No, I actually got to see my little sister finally. Uh, my sire found her and she was in a bit of trouble, and he embraced her. I was not a happy camper.
I was about to ask if she was safe and protected, but
My sire's awesome. He's got his own little deal going on, and he recognized her right off the bat because I told stories, and that she is a shot of fireball that you approach with all sorts of caution. And yeah, he recognized her. And he saved her into this life.
either saved or cursed. Yet to be determined. There's a lot of things I wish I could do. Just simple pleasures of even having a family, being able to be a mother. The basic things that you take for granted that you're going to be able to grow up and do. Get married, family, grandkids.
Sitting in the rocking chairs on the porch saying, "Stop doing that."
Just a simple life. Despite wanting to reach for greatness with things, sometimes I wish I could just run away from it all and just hide in my own little corner and just exist and be happy and eat grapes and have sex and not have to worry about anything.
That sounds like a plan. Yeah, seems like a good plan.
My clan's still a little bit closer to all of our pleasures than everyone else's. Don't get me wrong, I thoroughly enjoy feeding and everything else on these gentlemen in the club. Especially the ones that are here on frat boy night.
Ooh, that's gotta be interesting.
It's even more fun now that they think that they're in control, and whereas they used to be, they're not anymore.
Obviously. What night is that, by the way?
I think they come out every second Thursday of the month.
Good to know.
It's not this one, but it'll be next one.
Okay.
It's Greek night. They just go out in flocks with their little t-shirts on and their little muscly things and their nipples showing through and their tight-ass jeans, and it's fabulous.
She does like that girly little sigh of just like, oh, swoon.
But I remember the times when you'd be in college and you try to be studying in your dorm room, and it's a co-ed dorm, and someone will just wander in and start talking to you, and you try to be friendly, and he's obviously been drinking, and then just looks at you and says, "Oh, why aren't you more friendly?" And then ends up pinning you up against the wall, and you don't know if you can fight back or if you can scream or if he's going to blame it on what you were wearing or if he's going to reach his hands down your PE shorts and just grab for anything he can when he's unwelcomed. And it was that life before. Now I can rip the throats out if I needed to. I don't want to say I feel like a vindictive angel for all the rest of the women who've dealt with abuse, but you probably feel the same in some ways. All those men that thought they could just take forcible control of their family, not anymore.
Not anymore. And a lot of people have asked, well, why don't you go see your dad in prison? And, give him a piece of your mind. It's just like, because I don't need to.
Stronger than I am. I have very little will for those things. Gotten into quite a few cage fights and bar fights and brawls. People that just taunt me. Don't do well.
I just used to just go for runs. Running through Boston at night. My own little special way, jumping building to building. Dropping down.
Motorcycle.
Hmm?
Drive the motorcycle.
Try the motorcycle?
That'll do it.
Well, that's how I got my information around. The courier business, everybody is, Snow, ride their scooter, take their car, take the bike. No, I ran.
You should take the bike. You know, there was another courier in this town, and his name was Soggy, and he used to courier things around on his bicycle. And eventually this Nosferatu gave gave the prince of the city a bicycle as his present one time in court. And it was hilarious.
Did he use it?
I don't think Prince Wolf ever used that bicycle. But
Who is Prince Wolf?
oh.
You guys mentioned him before.
So when I first got here to New Sarum, after needing to leave Atlanta, my sire moved up first, and I moved up about a few months after. And there was a Malkavian who was the prince, who had been in charge for about 75 years.
Wow.
Yes, which is pretty normal for a prince's reign. This turning wheel of events that we have is abnormal. And we're going to draw attention to ourselves if we don't fix it and keep one prince in.
Yeah.
But Prince Wolf was... Well, he was all right to start with. I am hella convinced that he thought I was an absolute hottie. In fact, I know he thought I was an absolute hottie. Out of character, she totally botched an aura perception roll. And Prince Wolf had his own ways, and he was a lot less diplomatic than Prince Stanhope is, but eventually he just started losing things and tried to turn the city into a free anarch state like they have over in California. And things just didn't go well with that. Eventually the Nosferatu and I escorted the prince as a bodyguard to a court set, and then the Nosferatu came out of the shadows and staked him, and he was removed from the situation. I don't know if he's still alive somewhere just doing what he does, but he was a scary fellow. Prince Stanhope, at least, is approachable. The Malkavian prince, you never knew if he was just going to look you in the eye and tell you to run in abject fear, or to all of a sudden pee your pants. Because he could do that. I watched him do it.
What power is that?
Even kindred who have no control over bodily functions anymore, he just looks at them and twists their minds.
What power is that?
I'm not Malkavian, but he
Right.
was really old. And then after him, I believe it went to Prince Orchid, and she was a master swordswoman. She was rather quiet and demure until something went wrong, and then she would slice your head off in one foul swoop. She was fabulous, a dancer in the sword arts. I don't quite remember what happened to her, but I think she just up and left the city and was done with it. And then we had the Brujah. He was a good man. Prince Eudosha, he liked his books, but I think his life was more for seeking solitude and peace and zenness, and not the asinine banter of running a city. It suited better for the Ventrue, you know? They like that kind of thing.
I'm starting to notice that, yeah.
Him and Laird and all the rest of they like that stuff.
That's why it's usually like, if we get into that situation, you go ahead, Laird. I'll just stay back here.
I have no capacity for it whatsoever. But then John came back in, and I suppose got voted back in, and I told him, don't do it. And he looked at me and said, there's nobody else in the city who can do it. I said, well, why does it have to be you? Why can't it be someone else's head on the chopping block? And he said, I have to do it. And when he wants something, that's the way it is. He'll either brood until he gets what he wants, or make it happen.
Can I roll to see if, like, I can tell if Calliope is showing that she knows John very well?
Oh, sure. I'm going to pee real quick while you do it. I'll take like 2 seconds.
Alrighty.
Go ahead, roll.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Yeah. I don't know what the DC is, so I'll wait.
If you happy to.
What is the DC?
Yeah. So she probably sees that she's speaking with some familiarity about him. It seems as if she cares about what he's doing, and you can tell that there was worry in her tone when he was taking the princedom, and with the why can't we just lead a simple life kind of deal, like just really more concerned about him, taking the role and dying,
So, Chloe will just be like, are you sure you're not going to need another bottle to tell that story?
Well, there's many stories for New Sarum, especially for the few of us who've been here for a while now. Saw the rise and fall of many immortal through dueling and then turning into kindred. Watched the city through multiple princes over the course of a year. Just, there's too much young blood here and not enough stability. That's my big worry. When you're that young, even in Ancilla, you shouldn't have that kind of weight on your shoulders. You should be able to enjoy being yourself, not being bridled with such responsibility. I've had to take quite a few people in this city and show them the passion to live again. I suppose that's kind of my job.
You seem to have that positive heart to do so.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. My clan, we have that gift of swinging so far on the pendulum one way or the other. You're either really up or you get so down on yourself. And she will notice too, like as she'll spin around to go back and grab, another set of the Stanhope brew. And since she's wearing a tank top at this point, if she's like looking at the hair that's brushed aside, she's going to see like on each like scapula kind of area, there's like 2 big like incision marks and another 2 over there that look like, they were wounds healing up. Obviously, Chloe knows that she can heal wounds, and you kind of choose to kind of keep scars as you will, or maybe they were there from forever ago, who knows, but she knows that kindred can heal all the rest of that wounds, and if you're having scars, it's either because they started there or you're just wanting to keep them for now. So she'll spin back around with the rest of the bottle.
She won't bring it up.
Say ups and downs, but he's a good man, whatever the Giovanni say about him. Don't think that Laird's the only one that cares about you.
No, I know. And when I went to go talk to Prince Stanhope, I noticed that there was a little extra ghouls in the room, and we got on the subject of what happened, and he was making sure that I had nothing against him about not sending anybody after me. And honestly, there was like 2 sides to it, and one was heavier than the other. The heavier one was that he has his reasons for not doing it. At the same time, it's just like, why? It was just like that why question, but he answered those for me. It's just like, okay, that's all I need to know.
He's stubborn. He's proud. But he takes pride in what he does, and he takes pride in his people. And if you're a good people, he'll look out for you. And I think the whole reason that he volunteered to take care of the city is because it's his way of fighting. As a venture like that, they don't have the same kind of martial prowess that we do. But their prowess comes in keeping the stability in the city and building the political systems and making a safe place for everyone to have a home.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I don't want him to do that, it's just, that's who he is. He's not going to stop trying to make a safe place for everyone.
Then I think you just need to be there to make sure that he doesn't go too far.
Well, keeping sane in a job like that, in the Game of Thrones, you either win or you die. And there's only space for one on that throne.
I think he can last a while.
And he can't do it alone. It's going to take the work of all the rest of his harpies. It's going to take people looking and listening and just knowing that there's a lot of short-sighted games happening right now. The Primogen Council with Jacob and everyone else and scorning the Anarch Treaty, the Giovanni shit that's happening, all these short-sighted games because people want things here and now. They're not thinking far enough ahead in the future. They're not thinking about our greater stability. If we do well, we'll be rewarded. And we will have peace. And we will be able to go about doing the pleasures and the things that we seek.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just too young to... I'm trying to learn about this city.
You might be older than me. You might be older than me. Who knows?
I'm only 30. I'll be honest with you. I'm only 30.
Human years or kindred years?
Altogether.
Yeah. We're about the same then. Because she looks basically, 30 in mortal years, and she's basically looks 30 in mortal years.
No, I was very hesitant about this town just because my sire sent me here to see what else is out there. And not soon after I got here, I got staked for the first time by a Toreador, and I...
Welcome to Serum.
That's what I'm starting to learn. I'm starting to learn. Just a normal night.
Normal night New Serum. God, that was... Poor somebody else. Poor Mortimer came to town the first night and was in here in the Looking Glass in the Elysium, and there was another Toreador that showed up, and he has this long history. But anyway, he brought fire to a kindred party, and that's a no-go. And and he was threatening to kill us all, and just wanted to die. And so Javier just went boop, kaputs on him, and took care of the problem. And poor Mortimer was like,
oh, well, that's Morty, I guess.
despite my youth, it's like, I'm sorry, but that's how things kind of are in New Serum. Shit's chaotic. Wait until you fight your first Zemitzi monstrosity.
Oh my god.
That's always fun.
Yeah, no thanks. I'd rather not. I'm a weird bruja. I will not just, go into every single fight going like, woohoo, Leroy Jenkins! No, not every fight.
I didn't read that expansion. I was a Burning Crusade kid, but all throughout college. But it just was, there's so much going on, and it's either live free or die. We're in Massachusetts, right? Isn't that the Massachusetts slogan, live free or die?
Or Aaron go bra.
That's pretty much how it is.
Yeah.
Granted, it's not quite the Wild West, but if we want to prevent the Archons from coming, I don't know if you've ever seen one, but I've seen a Venture one, and she was scary enough. We don't want them coming. Because if they do, they're going to clean house. And that will involve a lot of changes and a lot of discomfort for all of us. including the Tremere and the Giovanni.
Yeah. Clean slate. We can see what Tremere and Giovanni come in next.
I have one Giovanni friend. Well,
Which one?
a couple other that I had gotten guns from, but as it stands right now, I feel like they're the children who are playing ball but not contributing to the rest of the team. They're the kids who want to evade taxes. That's them.
Mm-hmm.
And to some extent, yes, whatever, their promise handles all of that, but they wanted to show good faith. They have the money to throw around. They have the capacity to play nice and make friends. They just don't want to, and I don't get it. Which means they can only be hiding something.
Oh, yeah. I know this is a little off topic. How do you feel about the idea of being Primogen? I'm not gonna even throw a speech out at you. I'm just asking a question. I promise I'm nothing like Laird. I am a horrible salesman.
I've known Jacob since we've gotten here, since I came, and actually my sire was fill-in Primogen in the absence of the actual Primogen. And I've seen people come and go in that role, and people flounder in that role, and people's heads get put onto dartboards. I'm not looking to be put onto a dartboard any more than I already am now that I staked the dawn of the Giovanni. In retrospect, maybe that wasn't the smartest thing to do, but Prince's orders.
Prince's orders are Prince's orders, and Laird is right about the whole incident. They brought forward their case, he didn't like it, and I guess he got a little angry, and it happened. I don't know. I was just coming home from moving my little sister to Reno, and I got a call saying go to Elysium.
Truth be told, if they hadn't been dickheads the first time in the Toreador Elysium and thrown that note around, I don't think it would have all happened. But Prince Stanhope is filled with pride. Ewan Duncern is filled with pride. And when two men get in the same room and they're both filled with pride,
You choke on pride.
mm-hmm, choke on pride like a big bag of dicks.
She can't help but laugh and just also cheers to you. Oh my god.
It's just, I don't know. Like, we've had a Primogen that was younger, but I really feel that it needs to be someone who's an Ancilla or older in that position. Otherwise, you're not going to claim respect from anyone else in the sect. Any visitor or Archon or anyone that comes into the city looking at you and trying to analyze your city, the first thing they're going to say is, why do you have a neonate as your Primogen? That is absolute bullshit. Whether or not you can do the job is irregardless. It just, the Camarilla has a pecking order, and that pecking order is there for a reason. And if I can keep someone else's head on the front end of that pecking order and somehow manage to still do my job, then I've done good enough. If something happens to him, I'll step in and take over if needed, because I don't think anyone else, well, except for maybe Joshua, is old enough. But he's been asleep for God knows how long.
Yeah, I heard about that. I mean, when I came into this town, I think it was like a couple weeks in, I was called into a brouhaha meeting in a dump, and I was even put up to vote as a candidate for Primogen because we were just too few in number.
And you should turn it down.
You
don't need that shit.
No, I claimed I'm way too new. I don't even know where the hell I live. And now Devin Creed has it. And there were times where it was just like some of the things he did. I didn't know the laws. I did not know any of the traditions. And when I was staked, and the punishments that Devin Creed gave to both of us, me and the guy who staked me, I was angry with him for the longest time. I was so angry with Devin Creed for the longest time because after that, the Toreador who staked me ran out of town.
Which Toreador was it?
Robert, the Frenchman.
I missed that guy, man. I don't think I even met him.
You didn't want to meet him. He was annoying as hell. He owned a dance school. But I was just so angry with him for the longest time. And finally, Sid Miles, have you met him yet? No? Well, he came into town, and we talked for a little bit. He explained, like, what happened, because I was under the wardship of the Tremere, and they said to report anything. And I reported to them the incident that happened between Javier and Robert, and Robert was thinking about getting even with Javier. So I told the Tremere because it's information. I'm a courier. I will trade information for anything, and they were giving me residence. And I guess they told Javier, and it's eventually what led up to me being staked.
Staking happens, but I'll tell you one thing. Don't let those Tremere get your blood. Don't let them blood bond you. I can't trust them as far as I can throw them, but I've had piss poor experiences, and then they hide in their chantry the whole time until then and claim to be stalwarts of the Camarilla. I think just like the Giovanni, they're out for themselves. They're not here to fight for the rest of us unless they absolutely have to stick their necks out. But your clan and our clan, we know something about passion.
Yes.
We know something about feeling strongly for our convictions and being so caught up in the moment and the heat of the emotion that you just can't contain yourself. And you know what? That brings us closer to being human.
Which is why I did nothing when the Giovanni had me. I did not fight back.
You're better than I would have. I would have
Well, I
opened
knew that it would have led to war. It would have been exactly what the Giovanni wanted. They wanted to take somebody and have them screw up so badly that they do something, causing more harm to the Giovanni's ego to claim war.
I would have opened my big goddamn mouth.
Well, I was sarcastic. Like the walking tank, St. John. Fucking A. Freaking huge.
That guy's ugly.
He is ugly. He is huge. But my thing, the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Yeah, you put enough bullets into him and eventually they fall down. He wouldn't be the first big fucker I've thrown a sword through, but
You're gonna have
that's
to.
a whole nother story.
Well, he was trying to make small talk, and this is after they know that the Don and his nephew were staked, and he was trying to make small talk, like asking about Laird and Megan and everybody. It's just like, well, I don't think your buddies are talking as much, seeing that they're staked. Oh God, he got so red in the face. It was beautiful.
Next time you end up seeing the Don, go ahead and ask him about that wedding ring that he's wearing on his opposite hand. He's got a woman's wedding ring. And her pictures and images, absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. Within the family, too. I wish I had more time to have, like, crept on the rest of his jewelry and, like, gotten sensations and feelings from them. But maybe I could have learned something, a little bit of insight into their families. Whether or not there's incestuousness going on or cousins and this and that, I don't know. The only one I liked was Oz. He was a good man, and then he got turned.
Mm-hmm. I heard no mention of Oz. Well,
Of course not. He's a Rothstein. He's not That's a Jewish name. He's not really proper Italian. Subsidiary family. I think the Milners and Duncerns. That's not a proper family name either, but what do I know? Pretty much nothing.
All I know is that Italian names are usually ending with a vowel, right?
Yeah, I can tell you that much from having grown up in singing school. Sung enough opera in Italian.
No, I thought for the longest time, when I first got there, all of a sudden, just like, oh God, I might meet Ewan. I have only seen Ewan once, and that was when I first came into town and I went to the museum when it was doing its grand reopening, and that's when I met Ramsay Brodianus for the first time, the Seneschal, for the first time. But right before it, I saw a gentleman, handsome gentleman, walking around with a putter.
Oh, if he's got the golf putter, it's Ewan.
Is it Ewan? Okay.
Yeah. And
Because-
Ewan, he's very handsome. I mean, I'm pretty good looking. He's on par. Like,
I like the joke. On par. Oh God. I like this stuff. It's good.
it's
But
Mr. Stanhope's brew.
But I mean, I met Ramsay Brody in this, and it was when he was Primogen still, and he's just like, "Oh, did you see a young man walking around with a golf putter?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just saw him. What is with that thing?" He was just like, "I don't know. He doesn't use it as a cane, and I've heard he doesn't use it as a weapon." I'm like, "Dude, what does he use it for?"
Maybe it's got dead people in it.
I'm not touching that thing.
You know how, like, you watch, like horror movies and they've got liches and stuff, and the liches, like Harry Potter, they embed their spirit into, like, multiple different objects. Maybe the golf club's like that, and he's got, like, ghost spirits in the golf club.
Break the golf club. It'll break his power.
The Horcrux is gone!
Break the Horcrux.
That's what I'm saying, man. I don't know. See, I try to tell that stuff to John, and he just doesn't get it because he's an old fucker. But anyway.
Well, Venture, they like books, right?
Yes, but his kinds of books are the ones that are from, like, the 1800s, and they're old fairy tales and Hansel and Gretel and, like, English stories and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
Try to bring him up to date on anything, and it's just like, God.
Get with the times, man. Sir, Your Majesty, Prince.
They're just not very good with all of that. But I don't know what to do with the rest of them. All I know is that because of what happened in court, there's going to be people after his head. And not only is that going to be bad for him, but it's going to be bad for the rest of us, because instability in the city leads to other people coming in that we don't want here.
Mm-hmm. I'm even considering getting a ghoul as much as I don't.
I'm working
Really?
on one too. I haven't quite persuaded him yet, but I don't quite know what to do with it because I've never had one before.
Is he a frat boy?
No, he's not. He's totally not my type. This guy is like, I don't know, he's probably about 10 years my elder, and he's divorced, and he's shorter with big brown rim glasses, and he's a finance lawyer, and he's been coming to the Cabaret every night pretty much for the last couple of weeks, and I've been slowly working on him and doing some books with him and this and that, and he'll be really useful.
Oh, yeah.
Not my type at all, though. I don't know if I want to fuck him or not. I mean, sure, whatever, if it helps, but I don't even know. But I need somebody to take care of those things, to make sure the business gets managed, to make sure that if I need hidden paperwork, it can be done. If I need an alternate identity, it can be done. If I can take care of security now that St. John has scoured my video cameras and other things. I don't even know if I can stay safe anymore. There's going to be a big target on my head after that.
I would say you can probably, if anything, out of character, how far is Washington Square Park from here?
Are you talking like New York City, Washington Square Park, or Washington Square Park in
New Salem.
Yeah. Oh, we're in the waterfront district, so we're like right on the East Coast, like right on the water.
Okay.
So pretty little bit away. She's
Okay.
like, I have enough security in here, but it's the standard things, the video cameras, the extra lock sets on the doors, the security features, the gentlemen coming each evening. It's a row establishment, so if someone wants to light something on fire again, because it wouldn't be the first time that the cabaret's been lit on fire.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. But I don't know what else to do besides bunker down in a hidden secret lair, but I don't know anything about that. I know the first thing about top secret lairs.
Yeah, neither do I. And of course, my apartment was given to me by the Tremere.
Wasn't it you or Megan that had the other, like, Rojas come in with the weaponry? That was Megan, wasn't it?
Megan. And I was pissed. That's why me and Rojas kind of, no, I kind of hate him. And then one night he kind of sized me up, and I kind of had to, do a little presence on him too and say, hey, remember who you're talking to? Back the hell down, Closet Bruja. Before you meet a real one. And he challenged me to a fight. And it's just like, I'm not going to fight you, dude.
I think he just likes living in the moment. From what I can get on him. He just likes to live in the moment and be left alone. And I suppose as long as he's not breaking the masquerade, you do you, Javier. You do you.
Well, he is an awesome guy. Hell, when I first got staked and I was having a little bit of trouble getting back in my own little head, he forced me to get into a dress, even put, maybe get heels on, blindfolded me, put me on the back of his bike. He drove us out into the middle of nowhere and made me homemade tacos. In a cabin by a lake, awesome view, just to make me feel better. It was actually my first official date.
That's good though. I mean, if people can get over the differences and get over stubborn preconceptions, that's going to save a lot. Like Gary.
Yeah.
I mean, when Gary was first here in the city and I was first here in the city, there was another bar that was held by another one of the Nosferatu, and Gary was getting violent, and the gentleman who owned the bar said he wanted to throw Gary out, and I looked at him and said, "You want to make him out of here?" And he said, because at that point Gary was like grappling at his neck with a, gangrel, bruja, whatever he is, like fit of rage.
Gangrel.
Yeah, I don't even know. But so I just sat there and started shooting, pumping bullets into Gary, and all that shit just bounced off Gary's ass. And this is why he's Teflon Gary, is because I kept shooting at Gary, and everything bounced off. And I'm a damn good shot. This man's ass is just like rubber butt cheeks of steel. And it was ridiculous. And I was amazed. Like, I don't know how none of them got through on him, but I gave him props after that. And you know what, Gary and I, we're cool now. Doesn't matter that I shot him in the ass like 7-8 times. We're good. Shit happens, shit gets real, you move on.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think a lot of the older folks in the town are not willing to just move on. Same thing with the Tremere and the treaty. Or the Giovanni and being even remotely helpful and contributing to the city.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do with them. I don't know how to fix the problem. All I want to do is run my cabaret and have a little bit of fun.
I just want to live, hopefully, past the year mark. Yeah.
Well, you're way past the year mark in Kindred time, though. You've already been released by your sire.
No, I'm talking about the Methuselah. The
Gotcha.
Methuselah year. I hope to live past that.
Yeah,
That's
Haikal was screaming something about that at some point, and I think the other Toreador there, I think he was receptive to Haikal's pleas, but I shook it off and went chasing after that Dawn. But sometimes it makes you wonder if violence in the name of eventual peace, does that count?
again, people just gotta get along, like you were saying. Drop all the grudges.
What I think we need is a bigger enemy to fight.
The Methuselah isn't big enough.
Well, she's out of the picture for now, until a year from now. If we have something that we can rally behind as a unit, that separates us from all the other distractions of infighting. It was the Sabbat for a while. They came in. There were other exterior magical forces that came in that I just... And it's weird because she has a fairly perfect memory and can remember everything, but she's looking at this thing when she was talking about weird magical forces and just like starts talking, but like nothing comes out. It's like a blank in her memory, which is very strange. She's those strange forces when they came after John and they just like... And then he was in the warehouse, and I went to go save him, and we organized everyone else. It was great. We rallied the whole town together. We need something like that again to fight the...
And she's kind of like giving you like that, what?
Yeah, it's very much like that. It's like she's very all together with everything, and then all of a sudden when she's trying to recollect something, it's just like, boop, memory erased.
Honey, I think you need to get something checked out with that little clicking clacking.
And she looks like she's like thoroughly pissed about this because it looks like she just knows she has... I mean, she's got Edict memory. So, I mean, anything that somebody says, she's very good at repeating back. But it's just, it looks like she's seriously perturbed talking about this story of when John was kidnapped and these forces came after him and stole him in the van. And she talked to the Ravnos and she talked to the Giovanni and she got the whole rest of the town together and organized a massive strike and put Darkstone security in and snipers and this and that. And they were ready to attack the building. And attacking what? Like she just... It's like she doesn't... It's a box of emptiness in her memory.
Does anybody else know what you fought?
Mr. Sanshope should remember. There were other kindred that were there too, but now how many of them are still here? I don't know, not many. It was so aggravating because when there's something that I care about, I will just fight tooth and nail until the end. And I managed to get the Ravnos to come together to create illusions. We had a whole party theme going on for everything. We had gotten the extra weaponry. We had plotted the assassins on the roof. We had the strike crew ready to go. I had called in favors and everything. And it was just as if... And before she says as if, she just like forgets what happened. Which is very weird.
Chloe's just kind of looking at you like, Laird's kind of... Like, just thinking to herself, Laird was right. Yep.
Which is, I mean, it's very strange for this little set because she's very connected with all the rest of her memory, except for when she starts talking about the story when John got kidnapped. Mm-hmm. And, like, she can tell the whole story of how he went into the van and this and that, and there were threats, and she got everyone together, and what were they fighting? Yeah. It's a very strange which is like, why would you not remember?
No, she just goes, for once, Laird is kind of right. But because she was just watching you be so enthusiastic and telling your story about how you rallied the forces and everything, and you were fighting tooth and nail, and you'd be able to do anything for it.
Yeah, and she's just like, it looks like she's so frustrated that like she just wants to remember what this memory was, and it's not there. It's like when you just have retrograde amnesia, that kind of a set of a thing.
Has Stanhope ever tried helping you try to remember with the blanks?
You know, I don't know if he knows. He he says, "Oh, it was nothing, dear. I just got taken away from these people, and they were speaking to me, and everything was fine. You're just overreacting." I swear to God, I was not overreacting. And it sounds like, it's kind of like Mama Bear, who was like defending the rest of their set. Give me 2 seconds because I got pee.
Oh my god.
Somewhere at the mention of Laird's name, Laird is sneezing.
Or it's kind of like there's a disturbance in the force. You're just having like a sneeze fest, Laird. That's all.
Somewhere Laird is sneezing every time someone says his name.
Oh. Now imagine Giovanni talking shit about Laird. Oh my god, sneeze fest. But anyways,
Yeah.
she's still just looking at you with like that shitty grin.
What'd Laird say? Come on. You can tell me. I'm not going to do anything else to him. And she's going to go ahead and, smile the rest of that and just use appearance and subterfuge.
And I'm rolling perception empathy.
One success. Whoop! Oh, you just beat the shit out of me. That's okay. It's like, come on. I mean, what did Laird say? I know he's a friendly guy, but if I need
you don't remember his whole sales pitch that he just did to you about Primogen?
Yeah.
Woman, tooth and nail, willing to do anything. You even talked to the Giovanni to get Stanhope back.
I did, and I talked to them behind his back too, because I was trying to make peace. Although I don't think that venue ended up being what I wanted it to be.
And hell, I mean, Laird keeps on talking about he wanted me to be Primogen. Well, first off, okay, so he wanted me to be Harpy. He got me Harpy. He went behind Devin and got me Harpy. And convinced Devin to let me be Harpy. And then we were talking about Primogen. And there's just so many things he wants me to be, but it's just like, dude, calm down. I'm cool, but I'm not pointing at you that cool.
Oh, psh. Nah, man. I'm just a half hooker that sung my way through college and student loans.
But it's those kinds of backgrounds, it's those kinds of roots that you come from that bring out that kind of leader in you, because you have been in the shit and you have the experience in this city. Yes, you're new, but thing is, you have the prince to vouch for you. You have all of us to vouch for you. I've only been hanging out with you for like, what, an hour now?
Something like that.
Oh, wow.
Well, being approachable, since that's one of her merits, being approachable doesn't win you everything. Unfortunately, there's those that are just more business savvy than I am and wittier and the rest of that, and unfortunately that's not my strong suit. There was one point in the city when I had, and you'll be proud of this, I had a good 4 or 5 different kindred gentlemen at my fingertips ready to do my beck and call. which is my strong suit. It's making people realize the rest of their potential and that they can fulfill what they need to fulfill.
And
with a little
just
bit of an
being pushed
encouraging
in the same
push.
direction.
And I suppose I do have a little bit of a different touch than Jacob does. I've generally always gone about things saying that, Yeah, some people look at businesses and they say that, oh, business first and the bottom dollar is what's there, right? You look at a healthcare business and they say, oh, well, you're not going fast enough through the rest of these scans. You need to speed your pace up so that we can actually make a little bit of money. They don't look at the actual MRI technician and say, why is she not performing up to par? Maybe she's got difficulty going on with her life. Maybe there's family trouble. Maybe she needs help as a person. They don't look at their people. And I've always found that people are your strongest assets. And if you can get people on your side, they're the ones who are going to fight to the death for you.
Shitty grins back.
That's a better part of what I'm good at, is getting people on my side.
And you
Figuring
already
out how
have
to
one
run
extra
business?
member. You just got another follower, behind you. Lead the way, Leroy Jenkins. Let's do this.
Well, I can do this, but I'm not well suited for the rest of the leadership role. That's why, you know how they always say there's a strong woman behind the man in power?
You have her attention.
That's kind of the way I've always played things. Because if you're behind the man in power, if something goes wrong, you don't take the fall. He does.
It does make sense.
You continue to thrive and be able to accomplish the rest of your goals. And him, in his power position, with his hubris, takes the fall, hits the blame, ruins his reputation. And you continue on again to another gentleman, to another subject, to another dance, to another story, to continue the night, as it were.
Okay, so again, I'm going to mention, I am not as good as a salesman as Laird Brayhon is. Go ahead and sneeze, Laird. But I'm saying this as a drunk Bruja who is brutally honest when incapacitated.
She'll pour more. And she'll be like, I'm getting closer to being done with the bottle now. You gotta keep up here, Bruja girl. You can't let some Toreador pussy beat you.
Oh, it's on. Bring
All right.
on beer pong. It's on.
Oh, beer pong. I went to college. I got this.
You got this? Challenge accepted.
Mm-hmm. We can make some dex rolls in that. As she's talking, she'll go ahead and set up a couple of different cups on the bar as she's going, like in the triangle shape on both ends. As Chloe's
She'll help you set it. Let's do this.
She'll look at Chloe and she will make a click to the last bartender girl who's there. It's like, give me balls! No! The pong balls! Duh! From like college night, cornhole, beer pong, Mario Kart. Oh, okay. She'll grab the balls real quick. She's like,
She'll
alright.
take off her jacket and set it onto the chair. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So what roles exactly are we doing?
I'm just going to do dex and athletics right now because she's not actually performing anything. She's just, using the straight up finesse on that. She'll look at the first one and she'll look over at the right hand side and go, back right, although at this point I don't need to sink last cup. And click out to the 9 and the 8, and so she'll still get the 1 success on that, and so it'll go clunk, clunk, that back right hole, so Chloe can grab that one glass and drink the set of stuff.
Chug it. She'll do so. All right. Okay.
For the prince.
For the prince! And she'll go for center mass. Oh! What's the difficulty? We lost her. Laird, we lost her.
You definitely sunk one. You definitely got a success.
Sorry, I don't know why it dropped me. I was like, ew, video?
Calliope was just dumbfounded because she matched her point for point.
Did she roll awesome?
Well, no, I got 2 1s, so I knocked out the 10 and a 9, but I got an 8.
Oh, you still got a success, so we're still sinking. All right, we're 1 for 1.
For the prince. She'll point to the cup in the center.
Yep. And she'll take her. I've got this mouse. This mouse is just fucking double clicking. I need to buy a new goddamn gaming mouse. Cause fuck this mouse. Yeah, I know. I've got a Razer, and it's just it's so old now at this point. It's double clicking when it's not supposed to, and then it's crazy. She'll look at the other set on there, and she'll like point in a general direction on there. And this one this one lands pretty well. And so she'll look at like the back middle cup and just go, boop, and now she's got 2 of them out of there, and just kind of nod on that and be like, I went through music school. What do you think we did? We put all these cups down, and then we made musical chromatic scales out of our beer bottles.
Oh, shit.
Took 12 beer bottles and drank just enough beer to turn it into the chromatic scale, and then we played them like handbells, because we were totally cool.
You band geek.
Laird will appreciate that.
Snap.
He does.
Is that 5 successes right there?
Yeah, you land the fuck out of that ball.
Point. Front point.
If anyone else is watching this beer pong game, they're just like, holy shit, these girls are good.
And thing is, these girls are taking those drinks like champs. We should have gone harder liquor.
I should have gone hard. I don't know how we do vampiric hard liquor, but so Calliope will look at the one on the front of that and just like boop, kick that and suck the balls out of this one. Yes. And look at that, just go whatever, boom, and like throw it, and just it totally like lands on the side of the table and bounces off, and she's like, well then.
You enjoy that drink.
Stan's Hope Brew will be the first time I've tasted Stan's Hope.
Well, there must be plenty of stories behind that.
He's always, I don't know, he's not that great of a story. He's British, but...
Okay. 2 successes.
Okay, so now you've landed 3 out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 cups in the game.
Okay. And you've only gotten like 2 of mine?
I've gotten 2, yeah. I missed the last one.
Alright, so K and C, you got 2 of mine. I got 3 of yours?
Yeah, you got 3, I got 2. Let me just make sure I don't have any dots in athletics. I'm pretty sure I don't. Up in my sheet.
I have 8 dice to roll.
Yeah, I have 8 dice to roll from just straight up dex and celerity, but I'm pretty sure I don't have athletics. Yeah, I don't have athletics. Okay, thought not. Okay.
Alright, so...
Athletics.
Like right after that point, just boop.
If I were turning this into a performance roll, I'd be fabulous.
Ooh.
Yeah, then
if you were doing like behind the back, yeah.
Oh, maybe I'll try that once just for shits and giggles.
Oh,
she'll
correct.
Let it go. She'll like back up a little bit, and then she'll totally do like the twinkle toes, like and spin around and back up and just throw like slow and dramatically, and then bring her hand back to her head, like in a port de bras, like almost like a dancer, ready to go.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
And she's going to look at that middle cup and say, middle cup. And I'm going to call it with precise, because I have a dexterity proficiency in precise.
Ooh.
And so I'm going to roll performance on this one just for shits and giggles.
Just because you did a little performance.
Yeah. Boom! There's a lot of dice and two
Oh,
ones.
shit.
So that takes out my 10 and that takes out my 9, but I keep
So
a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She lands the shit out of that ball.
Oh, so we're...
Middle cup. So now she's got 3. And she's just like...
Alright,
And
alright.
she'll just sit there and hover over the rest of her cups because she remembers that bitches blow in, like, from college. So she'll look at it and be like, remember bitches blow?
Oh.
She's like, if it sort of bounces off the rim.
No, remember, if it goes in the cup, you can blow it out. Remember, that's the rule.
Yeah. Bitches blow, and
Guy's
dicks
finger.
flick, if I remember correctly.
Guy's finger.
Yeah, guy's finger, bitches blow. Got this. All right.
Alright.
And she's gonna hover just slightly over the cups, like waiting for Chloe to like get just barely, almost not in.
And I don't know if like pure agility would help with this. Like if I just kind of went like mess it around and then whoop off to the side with that.
I mean, you can pick whatever role you want as long as you can justify it.
Okay. Well, it'll still be like dexterity. So.
She's gonna sit here and just like wait and hover over the top in case she rolls like 1 or 2 successes and try to roll a resisted roll or something.
I rolled 2.
Since she's hovering this particular round, I'm gonna try to resist with I don't know. I don't think it would be like dex. Well, I guess it would be dex and like maybe what's the other one? It'll probably do.
I figured it'd be like stamina since you're blowing.
Oh yeah, maybe stamina. Okay, let's go with stamina and athletics or something, or maybe stamina and alertness because you have to be alert enough to notice the ball while going into the cup.
We're doing this improv. Stamina and alertness.
I'm gonna roll stamina alertness.
Like
1,
deathmatch. I'll allow it.
2. Ah!
Damn
So
it.
Chloe like lands the ball in that particular set. Chloe's like, "Oh, I see it," and just like blows up on that, and like defender wins dies, and just is like, just like blows the ball, and just like, yes.
So does that mean I drink?
Yeah, you drink, and now we're even 3 for 3.
No, honey, you're leading 4-3.
Oh shit, son. Okay. And she'll like back up and like take the ping pong ball and just like stare viciously like a snake at the cup. And just like kind of swerves a little bit as she's doing it. And just like does her sign of the cross and just like goes to like throw and just kind of use dex athletics on this one. Well, that's 8 dice. Boop.
Oh,
1, 2, 3, 4 successes on that one. So if you want to blow that one out, you're more than welcome to try.
So stamina and alertness?
Sure, that sounds good because it's not anything supernatural. So
I got 2. No.
So 2 more successes. Yeah, she lands that one despite Chloe's going. It like blows a little bit and then it loops around the side of the cup and just like lands in the middle. She's like,
All right.
Savannah, you?
Boston High School. Woo! I never went to college.
Never went to college. What are you gonna go to college for? You got all the time in the world now. You can go whenever you want.
I don't know. I have no idea what I want to do.
You don't have to know. You just have to be awesome.
And she'll pop it in. She'll just go, and she's like, And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh god, there's no way in hell she's blowing this out, but she's gonna try. And my stamina is miserable. I don't have those dots in fortitude yet. Wait, hold on. I gotta clear this first. Okay, because I have also shit up here. Okay. 6. Come on.
4
6.
wouldn't count anyway. It's only for soaking.
Yeah, I know, right? 6 dice. Boom! Well, there's a 1. So 1, 2. 2 successes, that's it.
But how many did I roll? 5?
You rolled 5. The ball goes right in, even though you're
It
trying
goes
to.
right the fuck in.
And then your eyes just are like wide open because, even though you blew as hard as you could, it didn't matter.
She's like, maybe I need a little more juice.
I think we both need a little bit more juice. All right.
Here's to that. Here's for new serum.
Cheers.
Clink.
Clink.
And she will,
Actually, be right back. Hold on.
she'll drink for that set, and then she'll look at the rest of the cup, and she'll stare at the cup, and she's taking out the whole back row and the middle one, and she'll look at Chloe and be like, Chloe, rack!
What?
And she's like, Chloe, rack! Chloe will notice that there's like 3 cups left, and they were like
Bitch.
1 random one in the front and then 2 in the back. So if it's at that point and she says rack, then you're supposed to like put them into a grouping of 3 or a grouping of 4 like the diamond.
Honeycomb.
Yep.
No, wait, there's 4 left. So, diamond.
Yep, diamond.
Yeah. I'm sorry to remember high school again. Yeah.
High school, I was a good girl. I didn't pull this shit until college. People were talking about rainbow parties, and I had no idea what that shit was.
Yeah. And once you say, Chloe, rack, she's like, rack up, bitch.
She'll look at it, and she'll just take the ball and go, book! Wait, hold on. I need like 3 more dice. But I got 1, 2, 3 successes on that. Hold on. Let me roll my 2 more, because I only rolled 6.
You got 4 on that.
I fucked up. I only rolled 6 dice. Hold on.
It's okay. Well, 4 so far.
There you go.
And 5.
1 more. Okay.
Oh, hell. I'll try. It won't matter, though.
Just aiming for like that front one. She's
Nope,
like,
not happening.
right in the front one. She's like, dance. She's just actually like really excited to do something absolutely asinine and stupid for once, like not dealing with kindred politics whatsoever. So she's really excited about this dumbass beer pong game.
So tell me, do you do beer pong for your cabaret?
We should do beer pong and cornhole and like Mario Kart tournaments. This one time.
Karaoke.
Yeah, we've done drunken karaoke before. We've done kindred karaoke before. And let me tell you, Mr. Crown, the Primogen of the Ventru, does a fabulous rendition of Kermit the Frog's Rainbow Connection.
Oh, God. Yes.
It was great. And we had Tremere in there singing things. We had duets going across the board. It was a great drunken kindred karaoke session. And you know what? It was fabulous because everybody was just there to sing and experience their songs, and there was none of this like one-up. Because by God, it's my cabaret, and if you're going to perform, kudos to you for having the balls to perform.
Kudos to Crown for performing.
Well, he's a much stronger man than you give him credit for. There's a lot that you don't see with Crown. And she'll kind of kick back her chin a little bit, and like if she's watching, there's like the line on the bottom of her chin and like the line going across the chest of her neck that she's just not really hiding at all right now.
Yeah. If anything, you'll just see childhood scars. It's just like little ones all over the place, but it's nothing. It's just like, oh, okay, she grew up and she's a fighter.
Yeah, it's like this absolutely like flawless porcelain form except for like scars here and scars like right above the heart level.
All right, here we go. Ready? Are you ready? Huh? Yes! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, let me try to roll against that with my blowing. I'm not
Dexterity?
Yeah.
Or are you doing dexterity?
I'm not even throwing celerity in on this one. Or maybe I should. Dex and athletics, right?
No, it was stamina.
Stamina, you're right. Stamina and athletics. So
for blowing it? Stamina alertness.
Yeah, okay, stamina alertness. Since
thought
it's
that's what
not
you
a
did.
dex roll, I'm not going to add celerity to it since it's not a dex roll. So I'm just going to roll 6 dice. 1, 1, because a 10 cancels out with the 1. So she sucks at this.
So it's actually 2 because it's a
It like
10.
blows up sideways. You can see some of her blood wine like almost bounce back in her face. And she's blowing so hard and just misses. And the ball just like spins around in a circle and like lands in a dunk.
All right, we're tied, right? Yes.
And the competitive nature just like comes out.
Right.
And she'll look at this cup and just since she had landed the first one, she'll be like, second right! And roll her dice for that one. Come on, 8. There we go. Boop. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 on that one.
Oh hell, let's try it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That one's even Steven. She'll be like, and then
It'll just be like a. And if anything, let's see if she'll catch it. Like to catch like Dex athletics for catch.
yeah, probably at least 6. You know, we don't even know about 7. It's just a beer pong ball.
I know. So, you know what? Positive. I grab it. Negative. No. Why isn't it showing? Screw that. Roll.
Roll dice.
No. No, I don't catch it. Like it bounces on the table. So it's just like I tried.
Just like steaming, like ready to go for the next one, like trying to calculate the angles. You can see her like thinking, and she's like back in focus.
All right, my turn.
And she's just like hovering over the set, like just like looking up, like.
All right, I'm using my agility since she's like trying to read me. It's just like, oh, you want to try to read me, huh? All right, ready. 1. And since I'm using a specialty, it drops a DC, right?
Sure.
I miss. I miss anyways.
So she'll look at it and it'll just like hit the rim and bounce off, and she's just like,
roll.
and she will just like automatically, as soon as she makes the raspberries, just like, and go to throw like right away. 8 dice, boom. Well, that cancels out my 10, but 1, 2, 2. Come on, that's 2 successes.
I did. Oh, but guess what?
Yep, so that gets intercepted anyway. She's just like, throw, and like throws without thinking about it, and Chloe's just like, nah, dog, no.
Yeah, no.
And she just kind of makes this face. If there's like anybody else left in the bar that's like still like the co-workers that are still working, she's
Go away.
like, go home. And they just kind of look at her, and he's like, yes, ma'am, and walks on.
It just like, hey, like maybe the Santo brew is getting to her, and she's like, ha, and it just goes, yeah.
Totally like doesn't land on the bar. It's that one that doesn't make the table, and it like bounces halfway across the room. You have to chase the ball.
Get back.
Come back to me, ball.
And
as she's chasing the ball, like Calliope will peel hers out of the water and just like rub it and blow on it to make it lucky, and like stare vigorously at like the back left cup and like throw the ball.
Out of character, I'm just saying this would be an awesome time for Laird to be like, oh man, I forgot something at the bar, and come in as he's seeing this. Laird.
She'll totally rock back in and just be like, hey, what?
So Laird wanders in. He forgot his wallet.
This would be an awesome time, like when the failed roll, the ball just
Calliope lands this one.
He's just sort of looking.
He
out the
sees
gate.
like the red Solo cups on the bar, and Calliope just like goes shwink and just like lands that ball, and it goes boom, 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 like right into the cup, And she's just like, help!
You hear the slow clap as he looks around at nobody in the bar to basically help with the clapping.
And she's like, did you not go to law school and do this shit? Did you not do this in law
I
school?
totally did this shit. Like, it was just in the 70s. We did it with cargo pants.
Well, I don't have cargo pants. I got cocktail waitress pants, but give me a second.
Bell bottoms.
Hiya!
Bell bottoms.
And she'll just go, hiya! As she's like distracted and talking to Laird. And 4 successes it is.
She's gonna look at it and be like, and attempt to blow stamina and alertness here. 1, 2, doesn't quite succeed. She's like, and it's still like,
Laird is going to start taking count of like the score.
That's me.
he can keep track of it because of the number of cups that are still there.
It is tied currently. There are
Yeah,
3
although I
cups
think
left.
you just pulled one ahead with that one.
He's
No,
scribbling
it's
down.
still 6 and 6. Cheers.
We started with 6, so I think we're down to like
Oh, if it's 6.
each or something. Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were doing 9 cup. We were doing 9 cup.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we usually do 6, but I mean we can do 9 if you want.
Whichever.
She'll look at it and just be like,
It's on. Hey, Calliope. Hey, Calliope. Rack.
and she'll look at her and be like, fuck crack! And then she'll look at the set of the cups and how many? I got 4 left.
No, it's
3?
63, so 3.
3. Yeah, she'll look at 3 and she'll take the cups that are just in a random configuration and move them back into a little 3 pyramid and take one of the napkins and just like wipe down the rest of the surface for her so that it's all clean and stuff again. Be like, there's your rack. And she'll look at the balls and look at it, and now she's got at least 3 again, right?
We both have 3. We both have 3.
Okay. She'll be like, rack to you too.
Okay. Shloop.
And she'll look at him and just like rub her hands together and be like, all right, come on, front cup. Come on, front cup. And she'll look at the front cup and just stare and just go. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cancel out the 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to pee real quick while you roll that.
Nope, you got it. Oh my god. Ah. Hey, I got paid. And Laird, by the way, you'll see that Chloe's just absolutely laughing and beaming. I don't think you've ever seen her this excited with something before.
Did you succeed against my 4?
Hell no.
Hell no. Okay. She'll just look at the front cup and be like, ba-dunk, and land the front cup. She's like, 2 more.
Alright.
Go pet ban.
Alrighty. Alright. Alright. Alright, Band Geek. Alright, Band Geek. Boop. Oh, damn it. 1 success.
And she'll look at it and go, and just blow drastically and probably fail miserably. 1, 2. Actually, she
You
doesn't
get it.
fail miserably.
You get it.
Zing! And so she'll like, Band Geek indeed. We have the classical edge. Just pour a drink back.
Perfect for a Toreador.
Be like, you need to finish this off because the rest of those cups there, I think you're going to be finishing off.
I think not.
And she'll just pour a little bit.
Roll,
You know,
woman,
you don't
roll.
cover the glasses that are left, you know, the one that you haven't finished drinking yet. If I landed in that one, it's the whole game, yeah? You remember that rule?
Oh, man.
Remember the rule about, like, you know, you got the glasses on the table, but if somehow you land in the one that the person's drinking, they get fucked and you drink the whole rest of it and everything on the table.
What? You are not. Don't you
You
dare.
always played that way.
She's trying to deny that they ever played that way.
She's like, come on, you know that was the college rule. If it landed in the cup that was in your hand, you had to drink all of it, didn't you, sweetheart? And
remember,
I
never went to college.
And appearance. And totally fucking stuck. She's got one success.
Oh my god. And she'll be like, remember, I never went to college.
High school, college, same deal. I suppose y'all were in a rainbow parties before I even knew what that was.
Oh.
At least you didn't get dragged to a disco.
And Laird's like, Mr. Old Man. And she'll look at the cups.
He went to college in the 60s, so he watched disco destroy rock radio. He's sort of ruining that. At least, he's sort of ruining that, like in his mind, thinking about that.
Do we have any music, or is it just quiet?
She'll probably still have like background music going on.
Okay.
I'll have to like pull up some crap.
Don't worry about it.
Look at it and go. And blow on her little ball and hope that it's making it lucky, and she'll just like throw it into like the second cup on the left. And sucked balls on this. 1, 2, 3 successes that are taken, but she still has one success, even with like 3 that are canceled out.
And I blow it out. 2.
Yep, she's just like, and it like lands, and she's just like, boop.
Alright.
On one special day.
And she's just like, fuck it! Oh, no! And then she's like, shit, 2 to 2. Crap. And she'll just sit there and like stare at the cups like.
No, it's 1-on-1. It is 1-on-1. Are you protecting that last cup?
Oh yeah, she's gonna look at this last cup and just like hover over it as she's going. She's just like.
Are you paying any attention to your last cup?
Over her one last cup.
Are you paying attention to your personal cup?
Oh yeah, she's paying attention to her personal cup too, which is like right here, and she's got it kind of like vaguely tucked behind her back. Because she's played this game before.
Oh.
Let me move my dice. There you go.
Hopefully this works. I'm going for that last cup.
Burn that willpower! No, just kidding.
Oh, damn it. And you see that the ball goes flying. Or would I use agility for that?
Yeah.
I would use agility?
Yeah, go for it.
Specialty. And it drops the DC to 5, right?
If you have a specialty, usually it just doubles your successes with a 10.
Oh. Damn it. Then I still fail.
I know, it sucks because my 10s always get canceled out.
And you just kind of see the ball goes flying past the cup you're holding, and she was aiming for that cup behind your back.
She's like, ha, 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 and looks at it and just goes up for the last cup and just like stares at it like a vicious snake. And she'll go ahead and look at it and just like, pink, and like chunk the ball. 1. Oops, that was not the one. That's the one.
1, 2.
I want the one right here. 1, 2. Yeah, 2 successes on that.
We tied. What happens?
So ties defender wins. So you blow it out on that one. So we go another round. And she's like, fuck. And she'll look at the ones here. Should I drink it again? Should I drink it not? She's like, it's Stanso. I like Stanso.
Oh, is that so?
She'll finish the rest of the glass that was in her hand.
2,
So there's
3,
nothing left in it.
4, 5.
Oh, balls. She's gonna fucking suck at this one.
But thing is, she does that comment.
Well, let me try and blow that out, and unless some miracle happens, I'm probably gonna lose. Well, let's see. The 8 goes away. 7, 6, 9. Yeah, she only gets 3 on that. So Chloe totally lands the last one.
And she just kind of goes, and that is game.
Are we gonna finish the rest of the glasses then?
Hell yes.
She'll look at her and just be like,
Oh, by the way, she slides her last cup over to you. I remember that rule. You have to drink that glass too.
yes, I do, don't I? And she'll go ahead and, pour the glass into her glass a little bit so that it's all one big glass that's collectively there.
Well, by the way, Laird.
Alright, well then, Miss Brothers, to some more lighthearted drinking games that don't involve asinine kindred politics.
Hell fucking
And
yeah.
clink to go cheers.
Laird smiles at this, though he feels that he's made himself clear to Calliope. You know, he knows that it's not good to beat a dead horse, and he sees that they're getting on like he thought they would. He smiles at them both, and if he had a glass, he'd raise it. But then he finds his wallet and says, "That's what I was looking for." And
Put Calliope, another bottle.
We got bottles aplenty. John gives me all the supply we pretty much need for this Elysium, so,
I know. I appreciate it. I got something I got to go do. Anyway,
That's
gang.
something you gotta go do. Oh, Mr. Ventru, Mr. I don't drink your stuff.
Toreador. Toreador.
If I could drink your stuff, I would, but I can't.
Toreador.
Mm.
Grab him.
Oh, let's do it. And she'll go to just, grab Laird, playfully to, hold him down with the rest of that.
Where's some rope? He's drinking.
Mm.
If I
I'm sure
drink,
I can
I'm gonna
find
have to
something to
spit
his
it out.
fancy.
Look, you don't even have to do this. Just give me a glass. I'll taste something. But I don't want to be throwing it up. That's the thing. I don't want to be like a cat puking all over the rug.
She'll look at Laird and look at him and try and see if she can, discern what his preference might be. What would they be? Perception, empathy?
Sure.
Okay. Well, that cancels at 1, but 2 10s, so if I can click them green. God damn it, double mouse, come on.
We see it. You got 2 10s and a 9.
And a 9. Yeah, so I got 3 successes. That's without specialty, because my specialty I don't have a specialty in perception, so.
Okay, no, it's fine. All right, you can tell that it's highly unlikely that whatever you have would be there. That, the reason why he's sweating bullets a little bit about this, figuratively, is because it's something really particular.
Just look at him try to, decipher what his particular might be, knowing his history and his lawyer, maybe, defense persona, maybe absent, females that are, defenseless, maybe gentlemen who are just on the stand. She's gonna try to, think about what it could have possibly been with him.
He looks at you and he says, you can just ask.
I've learned with John not to ask and just try to be polite, even though I would love to entertain all of your fantasies.
Tell you what, I will tell you my particular tastes if you promise me you will at least think about what I've asked you to think about tonight.
Damn it, that's what I forgot. I was going to freaking bet that if I win, you would think about it.
Okay, for the 2 of you, I'll think about it, but I don't want to piss on anyone's Wheaties or step on toes.
No. If you go for the position, it would be in a vote of no confidence. He would step down. You could name him his whip. He'd still work with you. It wouldn't be like that. I'm just saying, I think political climate being what it is, you would be the best pick. But I can only drink off of mortals who have knowingly broken the law.
Oh, I've got a couple of them.
Okay.
And she looks over and goes back behind the Tweedledum kind of set up a stage, even though they're on the mushroom set, and comes back. And she brings back out one girl that looks like she's obviously in sweetheart gear, and one of the girls that's in her set. And just looks at her and says, "This is Andrea. Andrea's been running a little bit from the law because, well, she's not American. Let's just say her talents lie in other areas, but unfortunately the law's not on her side with the fact of her immigration entails. She's been on my girls for quite some time, and she's absolutely wonderful." And she'll gently lean on one side with Laird and have the other girl kind of go on the other. And the girl's just like, typical girl that's trying to seduce a gentleman, trying to put on her best foot forward. But Laird sees like right through the mask, but knows that she's been in trouble before.
Chloe is sitting on the bar watching this happen, and she's just like all giddy, and she's got her cup, like she's managed to like find another cup of wine of Sandstone Brew. It's just like
like obviously you can tell that Calliope's influence and like awe on the girl has like in her possible entrancement has influenced the girl to just be much more receptive to Laird's advances and things.
Laird is hungry, and he does need to feed. So there's that one side. But then he also knows that he's got grip of the damned. And,
she looks at Laird and says, "I've covered for people before. You won't be the first Ventru I've covered for." And she'll kiss him lightly on the cheek and like back away from that and leave him to the girl as she and Chloe like finish the rest of the pickup of their game.
Can he lead her away a little bit?
He sure can, yeah.
All right. Yeah, all right. He takes her someplace a little more private, and let's see. Awe is intimidation, or not intimidation. It's what is it?
Awe is, hold on, I've got this right here.
Performance and
Charisma Performance DC 7.
Okay, I should have 5 dice for that. Let me try that to start. Nothing fantastic, but nothing bad. Bam! Look at that.
Ooh,
awesome.
that doesn't suck at all.
No. He's like, I need you to follow me for a second. We can talk about your problem.
Like, si, senor. And just like walks across the rest of the floor and leans over toward Laird and just like looks up at him like, "Oh, Mr. Power, you must have money." And just kind of like smiles up in his general direction.
He mesmerizes her, and I'm assuming her willpower's 4.
Yeah, like normal power.
Yeah, it's got to not be that great. And he just sort of says, "I'm going to leave you a tip, okay?" And he pulls out a couple $100.
And
But
she just like looks at the $100-something and is just like, Jesus Christ, that's rent and food for like half a month.
But she can't scream. You have to hold your breath. This is going to hurt a little bit.
She just looks at him,
Mhm.
and I mean, she looks like a girl who's probably been beaten before, but she just looks at whatever his desire is because she's been well conditioned to train to whatever her client's desires are, and just nods a little bit.
He then commands her and says, whispering in her ear, "Quiet." And then he embraces her and he starts to drink from her neck. And even though it's excruciatingly painful for her, she has to kind of like fight on her. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. After he sips long enough to take about 2 blood points worth, he then kind of like caresses her cheek for a second, and he says, "Look at me for a second." And he slowly changes her memory just enough so that it didn't hurt at all. It actually felt very pleasurable, the whole experience.
And she just looks rather upset to start with, as if she was just absolutely emotionally confused as to what had gone on. I mean, she had maintained fairly enough silence with, like, the mellowness of her moans of pain and or pleasure. He's not quite sure.
He uses awe again, and he just sort of says, "Doesn't that feel better now?" And he kind of like tickles her a little bit.
And she just moves and sighs a little bit. Signor. And she just like bites down on her lower lip a little bit and just looks back up at him, almost like a lost doe. And Laird's probably used to this by now.
Yeah, he is, and he's sort of looking at her, and normally when he feeds, he's trying to like help people a little bit along the way. So he looks at her and he says, "You know, if you want, next time I'm here, we can talk about maybe putting you on the path to actually becoming a legal citizen."
She looks at him and says, "I would love that, Signor. I haven't had the funds to do the schooling, but I know I'm good enough."
He smiles at her, and he mesmerizes her again. Let's see. 3 successes, and he says, "I want you to know in your heart that you're good enough. Get motivated." And then he leaves the room with her and the money there, you know.
Ariadne is hell-bent on working harder.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
She's just motivated now.
She's motivated. She's going to go to school. She's going to figure out a way to become a legal
She's gonna
citizen.
take drama classes.
Yeah.
She's gonna snap out of that and be like,
Get this stuff done.
And because Laird can, has manipulated it so that she doesn't remember being hurt, he is not going to make a humanity roll because he doesn't feel bad about it. If she was in a lot of pain, it would have been another story. But also, he's now 5 humanity, so he's a little more detached than he was, and I think this is in that moral gray zone for him.
I hear you with 4 humanity. I know how you feel.
He's like at 5. I get 5. Well, still lower. It's lower. So he comes back in, and he's sort of straightening his tie a little bit and like wiping just the last little dash of blood off of his lip.
And Chloe knows
What I'm trying to say to you, Calliope, is I trust you with my secrets, which actually could be my life, but I would never trust Jacob that way. And then he looks.
Laird, there's 2 sets of people within this city that I'll just jump and kill people for. You might be on that short list.
He smiles warmly at you. Now, both of you lovely ladies, you've shown me a wonderful evening, but I unfortunately do have to go. I will say this though, and he goes and he actually hugs Calliope like a little bit, like it's like a nice hug, and then he walks over to Chloe and he gives her like the same hug, and it's like a really warm, inviting hug. I'm very, very glad that you two got to know each other. Now, last I checked, Chloe was winning, so it might be time for round 2.
Despite her slight resentment of losing, but she's okay with like losing fair and square. So
he grabs a pen off the bar and grabs a little notepad that the waitresses use, and he puts the score, game 1, Chloe, and then he puts a line underneath that, and he puts that down. He goes, well, round 2 should be on then. And then he kind of salutes Calliope while leaving the room.
She looks over at Chloe and says, I assume he's your ride.
No, I brought my own car.
You brought your own. Well, then we can either keep going, or we can finish for the night. And I suppose you have your own transport home. If not, actually, no. My extra room is habitated by Juan Carlos right now.
Grr. But nay, we shall keep drinking. Cheers.
Super glass. Check my bottle caps on. Okay, let me pour it back up. All right, there you go. There you go. She pours it back out. We can keep going. She looks over at the rest of the humans are gone and looks over at Carrie's character, who's like starting to leave, and says, "Are you sure you don't want in on the last round? You know, the gentlemen who play in the beer pong games usually win out pretty well."
He smiles at her, but he actually does want to get back to the Van Hoensbroek estate, and he's got a few other things to do tonight. And he says, "I would if I could, but I have a bit of a ball and chain situation." And he smiles at her, and then he leaves, sort of without explaining that.
She
Oh my God, say hi.
knows that he's at that habitat and says, "I hope you've heard their love story and that it takes you to heart."
Say hi to Megan for me.
He just sort of waves over his shoulder as he leaves.
Onward, Calliope. To game
Well, then.
2.
Worst comes to worst, you can stay on my floor. I know Mr. Juan Carlos, in his drugged out state, is on my other guest room, but we have some extra space if you needed it, and enough security cameras to keep things secret.
Morty will be safe at my place. It's secure. I think even
Indeed.
the cats can pull the shutters closed. Onward to game 2. I lead.
And she'll look at it and like reshuffle the cups, you know, not to be one who's going to be whopped by anything. She's very like into competition, which has been her problem with John this whole time.
So, instead of playing it out, so we can end this obscenely long scene, shall we just roll like percentiles to see who wins?
Sure. Which one do you want to roll?
Let's roll a percentile. Whoever gets the highest roll wins the game.
So like 2D, like the weird little 20 thing.
No, the green one, below the 20.
Yeah, the green one below 20.
Yes.
Boom, 92.
58. Okay, you take that one.
Ah!
So it's tied. Ready?
Mhm.
This is game 3.
So I need to roll that weird little 20 again? Okay.
That weird little percentile one again.
Oh, I suck at the second one.
I win!
Aha!
I win the beer tournament. Beer pong tournament.
Well, I should have figured one from your clan would be A-okay with drinking the rest of the night of the way, but usually I just have to deal with those of my own clan, and that's about it. And most of those gentlemen are fairly pussyfooted.
Well, we shall teach them. You know what? A kindred beer pong tournament.
I don't know if the old ones would agree, but there's enough of us young ones to probably care, and I could convince John to not give a fuck. So
There you go. And I mean, there are plenty of us young ones, and this is your cabaret, and you have your own security and everything, so you should be able to pull it off, just like you have the kindred karaoke night.
And we need another kindred karaoke night because, god damn it, everyone needs to sing and express their soul without fear of retribution.
I call Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen.
Good for you. Mr. Crown did the Rainbow Connection last time. Mr. Stanhope read a poem. I think it was The Nightingale by some dead poet. And I don't remember what the fuck I sung last time, but I've done quite a few numbers. Not as many with the keyboards as I would wish, but some with guitar, some with piano, some others, but pretty much anything that can express your soul and your spirit is good enough in my book.
Sounds like a plan. So kindred karaoke night, kindred beer pong. What else?
Let's go for it on Friday after no one cares, right?
Hell yes.
All right. Do you need
All
any
right.
rides home, or are you good with taxis?
Taxi. I'll be back for my car.
She'll look at her phone, and she'll push a couple buttons on the Uber. And
Uber! Yes!
Boston Uber. She's like, all right, Miss Chloe, you've got about, she'll look at it real close. Be like, you've got about 4 minutes until the Uber arrives here expecting you. And you don't have to deal with any tip, and you don't have to deal with any payment. It's all been done for you.
Well, thank you very much, good ma'am. She'll grab her jacket, make sure she has like everything she has, finish off her Stanhope brew. It has been quite the lovely evening. And we shall do it again. Why am I talking like a British?
Because Mr. Stanhope is British, and we all try to act like the British when we're around them. So, cheers to that.
So, cheers to that. Ding!
And she'll push her glass. It's alright, Miss Chloe. Make sure you make it back before any harm, and if anything happens, let me know.
Good to go. And I got my...
I'll kill a fucking bitch.
Well, I'll probably kill them first in a drunken rage.
Well, if you don't kill him first, then I'll kill a bitch.
I'll put you on my quick
Kill a
dial.
bitch hotline.
Kill a bitch hot? I like it. I like it. I like it. And Chloe will say her final goodbyes, stumble her way out of the mushroom room, and make her way down to Uber car downstairs. Lock up her car, make sure she has her keys, and get safely home.
Yep. Calliope will finish the rest of her night and clean up everything else that's been in the bar. And then finish up for the evening, making sure that everyone else has left her facility.
And this, my dear friends, is the end of our scene. Cheers.